All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to Abba and Shamaim. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. We'll go to John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There's one that accused you, even Moses, of whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how can you believe my words? All esteem and praise to Abba and Shamaim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Revelation chapter 1, verse 4. John to the seven assemblies which are in Asia, grace unto you and shalom from him which is and which was and which is to come, and the seven ruachs which are before his throne. And from Yahushua HaMashiach, the faithful witness, the first begotten of the dead and the prince of the kings of the earth, unto him that loved us and washed us from our sins in his own blood, and hath made us kings and priests unto Elohim and his Abba. To him esteem dominion forever and ever. Amen. Behold, he come with clouds, and every eye shall see him. They which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. I am Aleph and Tav, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord, which is, which was, and which is to come, the Almighty. I, John, whom also am your brother and companion in tribulation, and the Malkuth and patience of Yahushua HaMashiach, was in the isle that is called Patmos, for the word of Elohim and for the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. I was in the Ruach on the Lord's day, and I heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet saying, Shalom, Rohan, Shalom, Marcus, man. I'm the Aleph and Tav, the first and the last, which you see right in the book. Send it unto the seven assemblies which are in Asia, unto Ephesus, unto Smyrna, unto Pergamos, unto Thyatira, unto Sardis, unto Philadelphia, unto Laodicea. All right, y'all. Jeremiah 15 and 9.
She that hath borne seven language, she hath given up the ghost. Her son is gone down while it was yet day. She hath been ashamed and confounded, and the residue of them will I deliver to the sword before their enemies, saith Yahuwah.
Isaiah 14 and 1.
And in that day, seven women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by a name to take away our reproach. In that day,
Exodus 2 and 16.
Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away. So Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. And when they came to Ruel their father, he said, how is it that you are come so soon today? And they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us and watered the flock.
Revelation 3 and 14. We are in Laodicea. I heard something today, something came to mind. I'm going to ask you about it when the opportunity presents itself.
And unto the Malachim of the church, with the Laodiceans, write these things, saith the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the beginning of the creation of Elohim. I know your works, that you are neither cold nor hot. I would you were cold or hot. So then, because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew you out of my mouth. Because you say, I am rich and increased with goods and have need of nothing, and know not that you are wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. I counsel you to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that you may be rich.
You talk about that.
And white raiment, that you may be clothed. And the shame of your nakedness do not appear.
And we talk about that.
And anoint your eyes with eye salve, that you may see.
It's many.
As I love, I rebuke and chasten.
Be zealous.
Therefore, and repent.
Behold,
I stand at the door and if any man will hear my voice and open the door,
I will
come into him and will sup with
him, Jay.
And he with me. To him that overcome will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and am set down with my Abba in his throne. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Ruach saying to the assemblies.
Now, I'm going to go back and look at something, right? When you look at each assembly of what he was correcting them on, you see first and foremost, what was he correcting Ephesus on? Is that they had left from their first love and that they needed to remember how they started. What did he rebuke Smyrna on? Well, that wasn't even a rebuke with Smyrna. You know what I'm saying? With Smyrna, it was more so preparation for tribulation. You know what I'm talking about? Preparations for suffering. When you look at what he spoke to Pergamos on, it was the fact that they allowed the doctrine of Balaam to permeate. When you look at what he spoke to Thyatira on, it's the fact that they let Jezebel get off. When you look at what he spoke to Sardis on, it was that they still had works that needed to die. When you look at what he spoke to Philadelphia on, it was an outright reward that they would get because they were faithful unto death. And when he spoke to Laodicea on is, Shalom, Mother Rome, is that you thought you was good, but you weren't good. So with that being said, he's saying to anoint your eyes where I saw. So we'll take a quick trip back to John chapter 9, verse 19. Hey, boy, turn around. Turn around. Put your feet forward. Thank you. Go ahead.
And they asked them, saying, is this your son, whom you say was born blind? How then do we now see? His parents answered them and said, we know that this is our son, and that he was born blind. But by what means he now see, we know not. Who have opened his eyes, we know not. He is of age, ask him. He shall speak for himself. These words spake his parents because they feared the Yahudim.
Now that's good, right? Now, what did he use to open this man's eyes with? A little spit and clay. But let's move forward. Well, backwards, I should say. Just go to Psalms 19 and 119 and 1. I work my way to the verse. We just go down. It don't matter. Jamal, sit down.
Baruch are they undefiled in the way who walk in the law of Yahuwah. Baruch are they that keep his testimonies and seek him with the whole heart.
They seek him with the what?
The whole heart.
What else?
They also do no iniquity. They walk in his ways. You have commanded us to keep your precepts diligently. Oh, that my ways were directed to keep your statutes. Then shall I not be ashamed when I have respect unto all your commandments.
All your commandments.
I will praise you with uprightness of heart when I shall have learned your righteous judgments. I will keep your statutes or forsake me not utterly.
Go ahead.
Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way?
By doing what?
By taking heed according to your word.
And with your whole what?
My whole heart have I sought you.
Let you not what?
Wander from your commandments.
What you did with his word?
Your word have I hid in my heart.
You hid it where?
In my heart.
Where?
In my heart.
Why?
That I might not sin against you.
Shalom, Quran, man. You Baruch, man. Listen.
Baruch are you?
How you good, blood?
Teach me your statutes. With my lips have I declared all the judgments of your mouth. I have rejoiced in the way of your testimonies, as much in all riches.
Pause. You rejoiced in what?
In the way of their testimonies.
Tell them what testimonies is, man. Dwayne Jamal. Cut it out. There's gonna be a uh-oh on your butt.
That's a do testimony, witness.
A witness, right? He say, I have rejoiced in the way of your testimonies as much as all riches. So John 5 and 30 on general principles.
I can of my own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just.
That's right.
I seek not my own will, but the will of the Abba which have sent me.
What else?
If I bear witness of myself, my witness is not true. There's another that bear witness of me, and I know that the witness which he witnessed of me is true.
What?
You sent unto John, and he bear witness unto the truth. But I received not testimony from man, but these things I say that you might be saved.
That you might be what?
Be saved.
These things I say that you might be what?
Be saved.
Go ahead.
He was a burning and shining light, and you were willing for a season to rejoice in his light.
What else?
But I have greater witness than of John.
You have greater witness than who?
Than of John.
Than who?
Than of John.
What else?
For the works which the Abba have given me to finish, the same works that I do bear witness of me, that the Abba have sent me. And the Abba himself.
Hold on, that's good, bro. 1 John 5 and 9. You can make it 5 and 8. Shalom, brother. As a matter of fact, 5 and 7 might be more apropos.
For there are three that bear record in Shamayim, the Abba, the Word, and the Ruach HaKodesh.
There's three that bear witness where?
In Shamayim.
And it's who?
The Abba, the Word, and the Ruach HaKodesh.
And these three?
Are one.
What else?
And there are three that bear witness in the rats.
What were those?
The Ruach, the water, and the blood.
And these three?
Agree in one.
What else?
If we receive the witness of men, the witness of Elohim is great.
Notice it said that the Father, the Son, and the Ruach was one, but the other three, they just agreed. There's a reason for that, and I'm not talking about it today. But continue.
For this is the witness of Elohim, which he has testified of his Son.
What's that witness?
He that believe on the Son of Elohim have the witness in himself.
He that what?
He that believe on the Son of Elohim have witness in himself.
What else?
He that believe not Elohim have made him a liar, because he believed not the
record.
record.
Signal ain't great back here. Ain't nothing I can do about that.
Because he believed not the record that Elohim gave of his Son. And this is the record that Elohim have given to us, eternal life. And this life is in his Son.
His life is in his who?
In his Son. He that have the Son have life, and he that have not the Son of Elohim have not life.
Read 2 verses back one more time.
And he that believe on the Son of Elohim have the witness in himself.
He have the witness where?
In himself.
What else?
He that believe not Elohim have made him a liar, because he believed not the record that Elohim gave.
That's why he say, I have rejoiced in the way. Shalom, Sabrina. I have rejoiced in the way of your testimonies as much as all riches. Go ahead.
And this is the record that Elohim have given to us, eternal life. And this life is in his Son.
It's in his who?
In his Son.
Go ahead.
And he that have the Son have life, and he that have not the Son of Elohim have not life.
John chapter 4, verse 28. Go ahead, boy. I don't know who gave you that head. It's your daddy's fault? It's your mama's fault? Well, who did it?
Said the woman then left her water pot and went her way into the city and said to the men, come see a man which told me all things that ever I did. Is not this the Hamashiach? Then they went out of the city and came unto him. In the meanwhile, his disciples prayed him, saying, Master, eat. But he said unto them, I have meat to eat that you know not of. Therefore said the disciples one to another, have any man brought him aught to eat? Yahushua said unto them, my meat is to do the will of him that sent me, and to finish his work. Say not you, there are yet 4 months, and then come harvest? Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes, and look on the fields, for they are white already to harvest. And he that reap receive wages, and gather fruit unto life eternal.
Yes, sir.
That both he that sow and he that reap may rejoice together. And herein is that saying, true one sow and another reap. I sent you to reap that whereon you bestowed no labor.
Go ahead.
Other men labored, and you are entered into their labors.
I think in the wrong I got you in the wrong chapter. My bad. It's chapter 3, verse 28. Ruthie. Why you walking like you don't know nobody in here, Ruthie?
So you yourselves bear witness that I said I am not the Hamashiach, but that I am sent before him. He that hath the bride is the bridegroom, but the friend of the bride.
Peace, brother Joseph, man.
Which stand and hear him rejoice greatly because of the bridegroom's voice. This, my joy, therefore, is fulfilled. He must increase, but I must decrease. He that come from above is above all.
That's right.
He that is of the Arats is earthly, and speak of the earth. He that come from Shamayim is above all.
That's right.
And what he have seen and heard, that he testified, and no man received his testimony.
He testified, and no man received what?
His testimony.
What else?
He that received his testimony have set to his seal that Elohim is true.
If you receive that testimony, you set to his seal that what?
Elohim is true.
And he said that have the testimony then they self, right? Go ahead.
For he whom Elohim hath sent speak the words of Elohim. Elohim give not the Ruach by measure. The Abba loved the Son and have given all things into his hand. He that believe on the Son have everlasting life. He that believe not the Son shall not see life, but the wrath of Elohim abide on him.
You know, I was hearing some gentlemen have a conversation about the Lord this morning. One of the dudes is a douchebag, so it was hard to listen to the conversation for an extended period of time. But this is what they were talking about. Go to Psalms 110 and 1, man. Which is going to spark what I'm going to ask y'all about. Joanne, what's wrong with you? Go ahead.
Yahuwah said unto my Lord, sit you at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool.
Sit where?
At my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool.
What else?
Yahuwah shall send the rod of your strength out of Zion, rule you in the midst of your enemies. Your people, willing in the day of your power, and the beauties of Kadash from the womb of the morning, you had to do from your youth. Yahuwah have sworn and will not repent. You are a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek.
Now we're going to stop. Verse 1 was the focal point. Read it again.
Yahuwah said unto my Lord, sit you at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool.
Now, their standpoint is this is about, who you think it's about? At the top, who they say wrote it?
Oh, David.
Now, people believe this David talking about himself. Just from the context of how it's wrote or how it's written, I don't even know how they came to that conclusion. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, who would David's enemies be under his footstool? He never eradicated the Philistines. Matter of fact, David didn't eradicate any of his enemies. He abated them. You got to remember, he had enemies that are still alive right when he was finna die, and he told Solomon what to do with them. He never got rid of the Philistines. He never got rid of anybody. Like as forth as they was under his foot, the Philistines didn't serve him. Tell him where footstool is, man. See, I also could tell from the conversation of the gentleman is that he had the same mindset that most people had of the Messiah in the New Testament. They did not know what he was coming to do, so they expected him to do something totally different than what he was coming for. And from their point of view, I can see why they would arrive there.
That's hadom, stool or footstool, from an unused root meaning to stamp upon.
So to stamp them out. So then you'd have to go look at what enemies of David did he stamp out completely. So that's what that means. The footstool, I'm stamping you out. You're extinguished. You're done. You're finished. I don't believe David did that at anyone. Yeah, he didn't stamp out Absalom. And he ain't the one killed Absalom for that matter. He didn't even stamp out Saul's house. Tell him what the enemy is. The Armenians. Now, so remember, it's not subjugation. But I think you asked that before we read the definition. It's to stamp them out. When you say make your enemies your footstool, you're stamping them out. You know what I'm saying? That means they're extinguished, they're done, they're finished. They are no longer, they can't linger around and possibly come back and fight you later. Go ahead.
Oh, Yah, that's enemy, or the personal or national, foe, an adversary.
A foe or an adversary. So we'd have to look at who was David's adversaries that he stamped out completely and fully. Ain't one. It ain't one. So with that being said, hold on. He did wipe out Goliath, but that's not but Goliath was a Philistine, and he still had to deal with the Philistines.
Every time I read it, I always looked at it like they were talking about his lineage, like seed of David, like all the enemies that's been an enemy to his whole bloodline, even all the enemies his sons have to fight.
But then you have to look at verse 2 and 3. Go ahead. Read verse 2 and 3.
So Yahuwah shall send the rod of your strength out of Zion, rule you in the midst of your enemies. Your people, willing in the day of your power, and the beauties of Kadash from the womb of the morning.
So then they had to pause and see. They didn't ask Buddy all this. You know what I'm talking about? So then you got to pause, right? He said you'll rule in the midst of your enemies. So when did that happen? Then he said the people will be willing in the day of your power. When were the people ever willing? You gotta look at that. When were the people ever willing? This just to deal with an individual like that man. If somebody asked you those type of questions, because I know them the type of questions he would ask because he's a jackass, but not a jackass because he holds that particular point of view. Just overall as a man, he's another word, but it's children in there. He's an a-hole. The head of a phallus is what he is. No, seriously. I ain't even saying that to be rude. It's just a matter of fact. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he tried to show that David was a priest because they were having an argument about the Pharisees were Levites. I don't even know how he came to that conclusion. I only got about 10 minutes worth of listening, and then I didn't care anymore. But see, look at verse 3, right? Your people will be willing when?
In the day of your power.
And in the beauties of what?
Gosh, in the womb of the morning, you have the dew of your youth.
You have the dew of your what?
Of your youth.
Well, tell them what the dew is. Now we have to ascertain what is the dew. Yeah, because Buddy was like, you Christians like to jump on people. This is how he was talking. His line of questioning, I done talked to the dude before, so I can't do it.
That's towel, that's dew.
So what's the dew? You like the dew on, or you like it off? You like the sweat on? You like a little tangy? A little funky? What? What? Dew? He said twangy. I said tangy. Twang is something different. No, not necessarily. You know what I'm saying? We got a little twang on it. That's just a little monkey with a little spice on it. Ain't necessarily bad spice. That's natural spice. Some dudes like natural spice. Some people like that. Some people want the pheromones. Yeah, that's all. Hold the twang. I mean, all of it got its own. If it ain't got no twang, shoot, something wrong with her. She trying to mask something. You know what I'm saying? She might have a yeast infection or HPV. Yeah, she might have something. Trying to cover it up. Go ahead, man.
So Yahuwah has sworn and will not repent. You are a priest forever at the order of Melchizedek.
If David writing this, is he saying Yahuwah? If he would have said Yahuwah swore to him, he would have just said that. He said, "Go ahead on." I didn't start it. But listen, if he was a priest after the order of Melchizedek, he just would have said that. See, this is the problem that they're going to run into. Never at any time did David ever perform the role of a high priest. Never at any time did any sons of David ever perform the role of a high priest. Them talking about when he got an ephod on his head, man, that's not performing the role of a high priest. And if somebody came and told you that meant David was a priest because he had an ephod on, you should find an ephod, turn it sideways, and slap him upside the back of his head with it, because he dumb. You know why he dumb? And I'm not going to say he dumb. He think you dumb. Because he think because a mentioning of an article of clothing will convince you of someone facilitating a role. Wearing an article of clothing is not facilitation of a role. You know what that is, Henry? That's wearing an article of clothing. Do you know what an ephod is? That ain't mean you know priest. He didn't, because guess what? If David would have put the ephod of the high priest on, guess what would have happened? David would have died. And you know where he would have died at? In the temple where he got it from. He would have never got outside the temple with it. Because where they keep that at? Yeah, come on, man. David can't go in there and get that. Matter of fact, David wouldn't even attempted to go in there and get that. He wouldn't have asked nobody to go in there and get that. He wouldn't have thought about going in there to get that. When that time he was walking up there with the people praying. I get the verse for you. That's what dudes read and say, see, you could pray and prophesy with your head covered, then say no way in there that man was praying. Not one time. People be making stuff up. 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 12. 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 12. Listen to it.
And it was told King David, saying, Yahuwah had baruched the house of Obed-Edom and all that pertained unto him because of the ark of Elohim. So David went and brought up the ark of Elohim from the house of Obed-Edom into the city of David with gladness. And it was so that when they bare the ark of Yahuwah had gone 6 paces, he sacrificed oxen and fatlings. And David danced before Yahuwah with all his might. And David was girded with a linen ephod.
Tell them what that means, man. A linen ephod. That's what they gonna point to you. That's what they gonna read to you. Mm-hmm. It said he was dancing. This don't sound like no priest duties to me, man.
Ephod, priestly garment, shoulder cape, mantle, outer garment.
Notice this here, an outer garment. That, because you got an ephod on don't mean it's a priestly garment. Read the definition again.
Got priestly garment, shoulder cape.
Mantle, a shoulder cape or a mantle. Hold on. Now I said a mantle, right? Mm-hmm. Now I want you to go to 2 Kings chapter 2, right? I want you to get me up by somewhere. Man, this get verse 1. Let's see if Elijah got a mantle. Does that mean Elijah was a matter of fact, read me the Hebrew word for ephod to make sure it's the same word or a different word. That's why I tell you, man, nigga tell you anything if you go for it. Look here, man, you got women telling you they men and men telling you they women. I just watched a video of a lady boy. Man who was a lady who was now they a man. Talking about they had a top surgery but not the bottom. Talking about it's hard to be a man. Talking about you only got one stall in the bathroom. And he got to use it because he got to sit down and pee. Because he don't have a wee-wee. He got a cooler. He got to sit down. Joanne, don't start in here.
Mantle is out of rest. That's just a steam or a clothing. A mantle. A prophet's garment.
A prophet's garment. Come on, man. 1 Kings 2:1.
Then it came to pass when Yahuwah would take up Elijah and the Shamaim by a whirlwind, that Elijah went with Elisha from Gilgal. And Elijah said unto Elisha, tarry here, I pray you, for Yahuwah hath sent me to
Hey, boy, sit down.
And Elisha said unto him, as Yahuwah live and as your soul live, I will not leave you. So they went down
to
you
being hard-headed, boy.
And the sons of the prophets that were at Bethel came forth to Elisha and said,
sit down. Go ahead.
Unto him, know you that Yahuwah will take away your master from your head today? And he said, yea, I know it. Hold your shalom. And Elijah said unto him, Elisha, tarry here, I pray you. For Yahuwah hath sent me to Jericho. And he said, as Yahuwah live and as your soul live, I will not leave you. So they came to Jericho. And the sons of the prophets that were at Jericho came to Elisha and said unto him, know you that Yahuwah will take away your master from your head today? And he answered, yea, I know, hold your shalom. And Elijah said unto him, tarry, I pray you here, for Yahuwah hath sent me to Jordan. And he said, as Yahuwah live and as your soul live, I will not leave you.
Drop down to verse 14.
And he took the mantle of Elijah that fell from him and smote the waters and said, where is Yahuwah Elohim of Elijah? And when he
took that cape or that mantle and he wore it. But that's an outer garment. That don't necessarily mean you a priest. But people see that one word and say, see, he was a priest. Now, go to Genesis 14. You're picking me up at verse 10. Tell me what it says.
And the vale of Siddim was full of slime pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there, and they that remained fled to the mountain. And they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their victuals and went their way. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. And there came one that had escaped and told Abram, the Hebrew, for he dwelt in a plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abram. When Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants, born in his own house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan. He divided himself against them, he and his servants by night, and smote them and pursued them unto Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. And he brought back all the goods, and also brought again his brother Lot and his goods, and the woman, and also the people.
Mm-hmm.
The king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Kedorlaomer and of the kings that were with him at the valley of Shaveh, which is the king's dale. Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine. He was the priest of the Most High Elohim.
He was a what?
The priest of the Most High Elohim.
Now, I want you to read me the definition of priest there real quick, all right?
That's Kohen.
Go ahead.
That's priest, principal officer, chief ruler, priest king, Melchizedek.
Okay, priest king. So see, when he say that he's the priest of the Most High Elohim, that means he's a priest king. Obviously, it just told you he was the king of Salem also, because there's a difference. So you can see, oh, these are the priests, but that doesn't mean that they're the chief ruler. Now go to Zechariah chapter 6, right? Pick it up at verse 10, right? I seen your eyes, boy.
Say, take of them of the captivity of Heldai, of Tobiah, and of Jediah, which are come from Babylon, and come you the same day, and go into the house of Josiah, the son of Zephaniah.
Come on.
Then take silver and gold and make crowns, and set them upon the head of Yahushua, the son of Jehozadak, the high priest.
What else?
And speak unto him, saying, thus speak Yahuwah of hosts, saying, behold, the man whose name is the branch, he shall grow up out of this place, he shall build the temple of Yahuwah.
The man that's name is called the what?
The branch.
Well, we know that ain't David. Now, this is a key component. He said the man whose name is the what?
The branch.
He gonna build the what?
The temple of Yahuwah.
Now go ahead.
Even he shall build the temple of Yahuwah, and shall bear the esteem, and shall sit and rule upon the throne. He shall be a priest upon his throne, and the council of Shalom shall be between them both.
Now pause. Now let me ask you this question. Was David able to build the house of Yahuwah? Why wasn't he able to do it? Now this is a twofold question. Is Yahushua going to build the house of Yahuwah? Go to 2 Samuel 7:1. What y'all say? Yahushua going to build the house of Yahuwah? Well, not that he just had blood on his hand, but he shed blood. I'm going to say this here. That's a yes and a no. The Lord did and he ain't. How you going to answer that one, Sylvia? How is it both? Because it's both. You wasn't ready for that, was you, Sylvia? He got caught like he wasn't ready for the 1-2-1 press.
He didn't make war when he was on there. Then when he come back, he's coming back to make war.
You got a lot of components left out of that answer. You get it incomplete on your test. You think you want to add some more just in case you don't got to pay for another semester? Imagine if you went to college and they gave you an incomplete and you had to pay for it again. That ever happened to you? Anybody you know?
You got the Pell Grants.
They paid for it. Look at you. It happened to me. So you got an incomplete and had to pay for a class again? Nigga, what? How you fail what you pay for?
Wasn't my strong suit. Wasn't my strong suit.
I had to take the same class 5 times.
God damn.
It was a difficult
Twice? 5 times? Twice?
What you mean? Nigga should have been.
It wasn't that easy.
What class you failed?
College.
I'll allow it.
Thank you.
Spanish?
Spanish too.
I'll allow it. It wasn't difficult. Spanish ain't hard to learn. Oh, well, you just didn't care. You know how I know? Because I slept through Spanish class in high school, so I know you ain't care. No, I said I slept through it. I don't know how difficult it was or wasn't. I was never conscious. I would have failed it because I never would have went. Shoot, nigga, if I wasn't asleep, I was gallivanting the school grounds, doing things that I ought not. I didn't care about Spanish class. Well, I'm gonna go out here talking about I ain't finna have no friends named Jose. I don't need to communicate with nobody in Spanish. Shoot, all the plugs we had looked like me. Nigga, we ain't had those Spanish plugs. Nigga, we get no from niggas. What's that? Friend named who? Yeah. I was in my 30s. He speak English. We say what? Yeah, that is correct. That is correct. But it's more to it. Nah, for real though. What class you failed twice? Nah, nigga.
I'd rather not say.
What class you failed? Nigga, what? How you failed a reading class?
It wasn't a basic reading class. And because I assigned an assignment.
Damn, this nigga can't read. You failed 2 classes twice?
No.
God damn. What's the other one? This nigga here done. What you mean you're not gonna say what you failed? Oh, that means you failed something easy. This nigga failed something straight from high school, nigga. That's high school information.
Nah, it was
Damn. Damn, that nigga failed the class. The only class you supposed to get an A in. How you failed? Hey. Now you see how your mama got you smelling boo-boo? But sit down and be quiet. It's your own boo-boo too. And she steady putting it in his plate.
I ain't passed on my own.
You know that.
Come on, y'all. I'm just appalled. I'm ashamed. Doris, you failed classes too? What you mean you think you did?
I'm
I'm talking about in college. I know what class you. I know you ain't failed pre-law. Come on, y'all. Damn, you was in that bathroom for a long time. What y'all was in there doing? Hey man, get off your head, cuz. Come on, man. Come on.
And it came to pass when the king sat in his house, and Yahuwah
This is 2 Samuel 7:1.
And Yahuwah had given him rest round about from all his enemies. But the king said unto Nathan the prophet.
Pause. You know, getting rest from your enemies is different than making them your footstool. Solomon had rest from his enemies. They weren't his footstool. You understand? If the enemies are your footstool, you have stamped them out. He got rest. Solomon was a man of rest. But continue.
As the king said unto Nathan the prophet, see now, I dwell in a house of cedar, but the ark of Elohim dwell within curtains. Nathan said to the king, lo, do all that is in your heart, for Yahuwah is with you. And it came to pass that night that the word of Yahuwah came unto Nathan, saying, go and tell my servant David, thus saith Yahuwah, shall you build me a house for me to dwell in? Whereas I have not dwelt in any house since the time that I brought up the children of Yasharal out of Egypt, even to this day, but have walked in a tent and in a tabernacle. In all the places wherein I have walked with all the children of Yasharal, spake I a word with any of the tribes of Yasharal, whom I commanded to feed my people. Yasharal saying, why build you not me a house of cedar? Now therefore, so shall you say unto my servant David, thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, I took you from the sheepcote, from following the sheep, to be ruler over my people over Yasharal. And I was with you wheresoever you went, and I have cut off all your enemies out of your sight, and have made you a great name, like unto the name of the great men that are in your rest. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Yasharal, and will plant them that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more, neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them anymore, before time. And that since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people, Yasharal, and have caused you to rest from all your enemies, also Yahuwah will tell you that he will make you a house. And when your days be fulfilled, you shall sleep with your fathers. I will set up your seed after you, which shall proceed out of your bowels, and I will establish his Malkuth. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his Malkuth forever. And I will be his father, he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men, and with the stripes of the children of men.
Mm-hmm.
But my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it away from Saul, whom I put away before you. In your house, the Malkuth shall be established forever. Before you, your throne shall be established forever. According to all these words and according to all these visions, so did Nathan speak unto David.
Okay, that's cool. Now, the other one we need. What is it? First Chronicles 28. 28. You can pick it up at verse 1. Indeed, Golden man. My bad. I'm trying to establish something because Yahushua did build the house and he's not going to build the house. And I need you to focus on why he won't build the house the second time.
And David assembled all the princes of Yasharal, the princes of the tribes, and the captains of the companies that ministered to the king by course, and the captains over the thousands.
And how he built the house the first time. Go ahead.
And the stewards over all the substance and possession of the Malik and of the sons, with the officers and with the mighty men, with all the valiant men unto Jerusalem. Then David the Malik stood up upon his feet and said, Hear me, my brethren, and my people. I and my heart to build a house of rest for the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah, and for the footstool of our Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
He had made ready for the building.
Mm-hmm.
But Elohim said unto me, You should not build a house for my name, because you have been a man of war. And have
Been
shed
a man
blood.
of what?
A man of war.
And shed what?
And have shed blood. Howbeit, Yahuwah Elohim and Yasharal chose me before all the house of my father.
Now pause. Now he's established that. Now we know the physical temple. Who built it? Who built the second one? Indeed. Let's take a look at that. Haggai, chapter 2, verse 1. Dwayne Jamal. You need to cut it out, boy. All that squilling. You know, damn pig. You're going to get embarrassed in front of all these people, boy. Go ahead.
In the 7th month, in the 120th day of the month, came the word of Yahuwah by the prophet Haggai, saying, Speak now to Zerubbabel,
Speak to who?
Zerubbabel,
Son of Shalathia,
governor of Yehuda, to Yahushua the son of Jehoshaphat the high priest, and to the residue of the people, saying, Who is left among you that saw this house in her first estate? And how do you see it now? Is it not in your eyes a comparison of it as nothing? Yet now be strong, O Zerubbabel, saith Yahuwah, and be strong, O Yahushua son of Jehoshaphat the high priest. Be strong, all you people of the land, saith Yahuwah, and work. For I am with you, saith Yahuwah of hosts.
We did read this so you could, because we could have went in Ezra, and Nehemiah for it. But Zerubbabel, Yahushua, the son of Jehozadak, was the force behind building the second temple. What did Nehemiah build? He built the walls of the city. He didn't help. He wasn't necessarily involved with the facilitation of building the temple. Go ahead.
According to the word that I covenanted with you when you came out of Egypt, so my Ruach remain among you, fear you not. But thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, yet once it is a little while, and I will shake Shemahim and their rats in the sea and the dry land. And I will shake all nations, and the desire of all nations shall come. And I will fill this house with esteem, saith Yahuwah of hosts. The silver is mine, and the gold is mine, saith Yahuwah of hosts. The esteem of this latter house shall be greater than a performer, saith Yahuwah of hosts. And in this place will I give shalom, saith Yahuwah of hosts. In the 24th year.
That's good. So now, we know how he built the first house. We finna read it. Give me Matthew 16 and 13. This is coming from what we were at in Psalms 119. And then with the testimonies. Yes, sir, Rohan. And this gave me the segue of what I wanted to ask you. So praise you, it worked out for me. But it came to my mind when Buddy and them were arguing, man. Well, I'm not gonna say arguing. They were having a civil conversation. It's just the other dude was a douchebag. Go ahead.
And when Yahushua came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, "Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" And they said, "Some say that you are John the Baptist, some say Elijah, some say Jeremiah or one of the prophets." He said unto them, "But whom say you that I am?" And Simon Peter answered and said, "You are the Mashiach, the Son of the living Elohim." Yahushua answered and said unto him, "Baruch are you, Simon Barjona, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto you, but my Abba which is in Shamayim. I also say unto you that you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my assembly."
He's going to build his house.
And the gates of hell.
Tell him what church is by definition now.
Ecclesia, that is a gathering of citizens.
Say that again.
It's a gathering of citizens called out from their homes into some public place. An assembly of people convened at a public place of the council for the purpose of deliberating the assembly of the Israelites. Any gathering or throng of men assembled by chance, tumultuously, an assembly of Christians gathering for worship at a religious meeting.
So I just wanted you to hear that right. When you look at church, that's not even necessarily necessitating a physical location. It's necessitating that the people are the actual body of believers. Or the same thing, it goes back when you see a Kadash convocation or, in the law. It's always representative of the people. The proper Hebrew word probably for ecclesia would be the Hebrew word for congregation, which is a gathering of people. You know what I'm talking about? That's why it's called the tabernacle of the congregation. You know what I'm saying? So on and so forth. But I mentioned that because he said, upon this rock, I'm going to build my church, my assembly, my house. So we see that he built the house. But let's go to 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 9 and see what type of house it is.
But you, a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a Kadash nation, a peculiar people, that you should show forth the praises of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light.
That's right.
Which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of Elohim.
That's right.
Which have not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy.
That's right.
Dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers and from pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts, which war against the soul. Having your conversation honest among the Gentiles, and whereas they speak against you as evildoers, they may...
I might have you in the wrong path. Back it up to 5. That's my bad. 1 Peter 2 and 5.
You also, as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house, a Kadash priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices, acceptable to Elohim by Yahushua HaMashiach.
Okay. Now, he just said that the people are the house, correct? He built that house. So now let's go look at what it is. Hebrew chapter 3. Verse 1. Let me see what you asked, man. Oh, absolutely. Do you believe John the Baptist, Elijah, and Moses have a part to play? In what regard, brother? Yeah, you see, you don't want these people looking at you like that. That's it. Be a man. Huh? Nah, usually he'll stay there and squeal. He got distracted, which is good because he don't need this.
Wherefore, Kadash brethren, partakers of the heavenly calling, consider the apostle and the high priest of our profession, Mashiach Yahushua, who was faithful to him that appointed him, as also Moses was faithful in all his house.
That's right.
But this man was counted worthy of more esteem than Moses, inasmuch as he who had built the house had more honor than the house. For every house is built by some, but he that built all things is Elohim.
That's right.
And Moses truly was faithful in all his house as a servant for testimony of those things which will be spoken after. But Mashiach has as a son over his own house, whose house are we? We hold fast the confidence and the rejoicing of the hope firm unto the end. Wherefore, as the Ruach HaKadosh saith today, if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts as in a provocation in the day of temptation in the wilderness, when your fathers tempted me.
Now he said, who house we are what? We the house, right? Mm-hmm. Now you established he built the first house. So how does he not build the second one then? What is the second house? And why he ain't built it? Mm. You look confused. It's like you was confused in Spanish class. Huh? It's like you was confused in African American studies. Huh?
I wasn't confused. I just ain't turned this on 5 minutes. But I learned.
It's always the reason. Why you ain't turn the assignments in? Because you ain't have them right?
No, because I was out partying. How about that?
Oh, so you were tossing your butt in a circle.
No, it was not.
I can understand it's a different language. No, I mess with people, but depending on the language too, you can have some difficulties because you're not familiar with it. I can tell you though that just looking at it, if you really took the time to focus on Hebrew's not a hard language to learn because it's pretty straightforward. You know what I'm saying? Now, I think I told you before, English is very difficult to learn if you're not accustomed to speaking it because it's a very complex and bastardized language to say the least. You know what I'm saying? It's very confusing. Mark 14:58. You can make it 55. You definitely right about that. Rohan said little boys will scream their way through dominating until they learn a different way of trying to dominate. See, they was in there scrapping the other day. Joanne squared up and hit him with a straight jab. No, he smacked the fire out of first. She squared up like she knew, like she'd have been trained. Come on, Mark 14:55. Tell me what that said.
And the chief priests and all the council sought the witness against Yahushua to put him to death, and found none. For many bare false witness against him, but their witness agreed not together. And there arose certain and bare false witness against him, saying, We heard him say, I will destroy this temple that is made with hands, and within 3 days I will build another made without hands.
Now, see, I can see why you mentioned, but I would go back to that first house we mentioned. But there's a second house that's get built, and Yahushua don't build it. So we need to identify what house that is and why he don't build it. You know what house that is? Everybody look confused. I don't know. You tell me.
I came downstairs. I was trying to figure
Coming downstairs is amazing. Amazing. Woo! Slide down the pole is egregiously disrespectful. Let's look at Revelation 21 and 24. Maybe that'll help you out. Hey, children, I don't know what y'all making noise for. I shouldn't even hear you breathe. You did? Who did? Who did? You're supposed to say Daddy did it. Revelation 21 and 24.
And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth bring their esteem and honor.
My bad, 21 and 22. My bad. You can make it 17 on the house. Revelation 21 and 17 to work our way down to that verse.
And he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits to the measure of a man, that is of the Malachim. And the building of the wall of it was of jasper, and the city was pure.
You said the measure was 144 cubits? How tall that is, man? You know how tall that is? He said that's the measure of a man.
It's about 216 feet.
No.
So that's about 18 inches, man. The length of a forearm.
I say 1 cubit is a foot and a half.
Yeah, I would have said. That's what I'm looking at.
I was just looking at 144 cubits. It says 260 feet.
Yeah, read the verse again. It just wants you to see the height of a man from what they describe. Go ahead.
It said he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is, of the Malachim. And the building of the wall.
So that 144 cubits, he said, according to the measure of a Malachim, that's from the elbow to the forearm. Go ahead.
And the building of the wall of it was of jasper, and the city was pure gold, like unto clear glass.
Clear glass.
And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation jasper, the second sapphire, the third chalcedony, the fourth an emerald.
What all stones these is, sir? You know what stones these is? Where else them stones at? He stumped. He stumped. Better appeal to the judge. She gonna be nice to you. She said you paid off. So. I ain't been that joint literally look like a judge's robe. You should walk through the house. I'm talking about you should walk through the house with a guy. Order, order. Straight up. And the head right with it look like a real judge. I'm sending all you niggas to prison. And I'm coming and everything. That's all she did, sit in the chair with a guy. All you niggas cheering me in the house. All y'all going to prison. That's what you should do next time we at your house. Them niggas get out of order. Go in there, put your judge's robe on. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Come out. Right this here, man. I sentence you to 3 lashes. I sentence you to the corner. That's it. I ain't gonna lie. I do some stuff like that just for the hell of it. My own amusement. Go ahead. Y'all think I'm playing. What's that?
He read in Revelation 2:1. That's in the breastplate, the high priest.
I think it mentioned them stones. Let me look and see it. I can't.
I don't think like Ezekiel 28.
That's where it's at. That's in Ezekiel.
All the precious stones.
Yeah, the precious stones they mentioned in Genesis, but it's mentioned in Ezekiel. That's what I would reference. See if he remembered. He forgot. Go ahead.
Said in the 5th sardonyx, the 6th sardius, the 7th chrysolite, the 8th beryl, the 9th the topaz, the 10th crystal prasus, and the 11th.
That's right, Rohan. Amen.
And the 12th an amethyst. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls. Every several gate was of 1 pearl. And the street of the city was pure gold, as it were transparent glass. And I saw no temple therein.
That's all the what?
Saw no temple therein.
Why?
For the Lord Elohim Almighty and the Lamb are the temple of it.
Now, why the Lamb don't build this house? Because clearly, if the Father and the Lamb are the temple of it, the Lamb didn't build the Father. That would be pretty difficult now, wouldn't it? So why he don't build this house?
The Father's kingdom.
No. It's the reason why we read this about David, man. Take that and tie it in. Lump it together like coal in your sack on Christmas, man, when you was being a bad child. Huh? Get his hands bloody? You sure about that? Are you positive about that?
When you said lumping in with David, that's
Lumping in with David is wild. Well, let's take a look. Let's go to Genesis 49 and 10. That's enough, Joanne. You gonna do it again? You want me to slap your lip off? I didn't think so. You're just defiant, indignant, cordial. Genesis 49 and 10. Go over there with your auntie. Joanne, go over there with your auntie. Look at you. Your auntie don't even want to deal with you. Go over there with your auntie. Look at you. Your uncle don't want to fool with you neither. You been over there harassing them, Jerry? Genesis 49 and 10.
So the scepter shall not depart from Yehuda, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and unto him the gathering of the people be. Binding his foal unto the vine, and his ass's coat unto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine.
He washed his garments in what?
And wine.
And what?
And wine.
Why?
And his clothes in the blood of grapes.
Isaiah 63 and 1.
See, who was this that come from Edom?
Now I want you to understand something, right? The house that Mashiach built was built through the shedding of blood, but not the shedding of others' blood, but the shedding of his own blood. He ain't shed nobody's blood to build that house. That's why he was able to build that house. But he's not going to be able to build the second house because he's coming back to shed blood just like David. Now read Isaiah 63 and 1 and look what it says. Remember, we talked about this a long time ago. He came to Solomon and he returned to David. You remember that? And if he returning to David, that means he got to fight the what? The wars of Yahuwah. And if he fighting the wars of Yahuwah, guess what he got to do? Shed blood abundantly. Oh, that's just talking about, the tabernacles. Because remember he said my father's house has many mansions, and that mansion translates to tabernacles. You know what I'm saying? And those tabernacles are technically the tabernacles that are in heaven made without hands. You know what I'm saying? Because the land has already been prepared. You know what I'm saying? That was what Brother Eric mentioned last night with the Deuteronomy 32 about, because we were talking about that verse the other day, but they was more so focusing on the Most High and the sons of Adam. Because I think we were looking at one translation. It says sons of God. I'm like, but sons of God is pointing you to Adam, which if that says sons of God and it's talking about Adam, that's how you should know the sons of God in Genesis is talking about Adam. You know what I'm saying? But some people don't want to hear that because my man's was definitely messing with a dude. They were talking about son. He said, but you believe angelic creatures had quarters with women. You know what I'm saying? Because brother don't curse and he's a wordsmith. You know what I'm talking about? So his word usage is hilarious when he pins some of these people in with their logic and reasoning word-wise. That's a dude I told you. He told the dude, I will manipulate your body against your will. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga told that nigga say, boy, I would have conceded the fight right then. But I ain't never heard nobody tell nobody I'm gonna manipulate your body against your will. And he said it calm, under control. Because the other man, he crashing out. They talking about fighting. He like this here, and they in the same state. He said, all you got to do, one in North California, the other in Southern California. He said, you pick the gym. I come to the gym, we box. He said, if you don't want to box, I'll manipulate your body against your will. You know what I'm talking about? I think his brother doing jujitsu. That jump was wild, because he was serious though. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all, you'd have to hear him talk. You know what I'm saying? Only time he get pissed off is when people be cutting him off. He's fast out there. Other than that, he's usually under control. He don't even always get pissed off when people be cutting him off. It depends. But when he get pissed off, he get pissed off. But that day he wasn't pissed off. He was dead serious. He done challenged several people to a boxing match. Several. So we ain't got to argue. He said, you pick the gym. You come there and we can spar. No, he from Baltimore. He live in California, but he from Baltimore. Yeah, he from Baltimore. Yeah, he said, we just come on out here to the gym, and we can box about it. That man didn't want to box that man. Go ahead.
Say, who is this that come from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah? Rod? This that is esteemed in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore are you red in your apparel?
Why are you red in your what?
In your apparel.
And look like you've done what? No, next word. He right. He tried. He was ad-libbing. I ain't mad at it. Go ahead.
In your garments like him that tread in the wine.
There it is. Tread in the wine fat.
I have trod in the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. For I'll tread them in my anger, and trample them in my fury. And their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment.
Revelation 14 and 14. Then 19 and 15, same book, Revelation.
And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another Malachim came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, thrust in your sickle and reap, for the time is come for you to reap.
Reap.
For the harvest of the arats is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle, and on the arats, and the arats was reaped. And another Malachim came out of the temple, which is in Shamaim, he also having a sharp sickle. And another Malachim came up from the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a loud voice to him that had the sharp sickle, saying, thrust in your sharp sickle and gather the clusters of the vine of the arats, for her grapes are fully ripe. And the Malachim thrust his sickle into the arats, and gathered the vine of the arats, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of Elohim. And the winepress was trodden without the city.
You using up my wife?
And blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horse bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs.
Revelation 19 and 15. That's $3 worth of wipes you just used. We're going to need that back home.
Well, I'm just looking at my AC.
Sucking AC is crazy. Ain't nobody in here sucking nothing. What you talking about? That's just repugnant.
And out of his mouth go a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he tread the winepress out of fierceness and wrath of Almighty Elohim. And he have on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, Malach of Malachs.
And we read the verse because it said in righteousness he come to judge and do what? Make war. Now I want you to come back to Psalms 110. I read all of that for a reason. Everything we just went through, right? Because clearly Yahushua shed blood in making a war, correct? So that means he can't build this, the next house. Remember, he said, back to Revelation 3 and 12. That's why when they were talking about it, this popped in my mind, because what we discussed in Revelation 3 and 12.
And him that overcome will I make a pillar in the temple of my Elohim.
The temple of my who?
Of my Elohim.
And the temple is who? It's his Elohim. You know what I'm talking about? So theoretically, he's got to fulfill David's testimony. He can't build the house. Because why? His hand done shed blood abundantly. Do you understand how much blood this man gonna shed? Hold on, let me help you visualize it. Jeremiah 25 and 30. Let's just visualize it. Then we'll come back to Revelation 3 and 12. Y'all need to be paying attention instead of doing whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah.
Come on.
Therefore prophesy you against them all these words, and saying to them, Yahuwah shall roar from on high and utter his voice.
He gonna roar from where?
From on high.
Oh.
And utter his voice from his Kadash habitation. He shall mightily roar upon his habitation. He shall give a shout, as they that tread the grapes against all the inhabitants of the Arats.
What is that? Tread the what?
Well, grapes ain't good, but they tread the grapes.
But so that's taking us back to the same things you just been looking at, right? Now go ahead, because this didn't happen when they with Babylon. But Jeremiah was during the time of Babylon. Go ahead.
The noise shall come even unto the ends of the Arats, and Yahuwah have a controversy with the nations. He will plead with all flesh. He will give them that are wicked to the sword.
Give them to the what?
To the sword.
That's what you see in Revelation.
I say, if Yahuwah of hosts, behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind shall be raised up from the coast of the Arats. And the slain of Yahuwah shall be at that day from one end of the Arats even to the other end of the Arats.
From one end of the...
And they shall not be lamented.
From one end of the...
Arats.
One end of the land to the other end of the land. He can't build that house. You know what I'm saying? You got to remember, right? When he do all of this, what is the time frame from him doing it to his father's kingdom? One day. You think he's going to be able to build a house after he done shed all that blood? You can't build this house when you shed all that blood. Now, Ezekiel 39, Rohan, that's after the Lord come back. I know a lot of people look at it as before, but that's after. And the key in that is in Ezekiel 38 when he say the people who are brought back from the sword and gathered out of many nations, dwelling in unwalled villages. Man, why you holding that boy like that? Hanging that boy upside down. That boy don't like that. Then get up and give it to him then. Manhandling that boy. Come on, man. Back to Psalms 110. Yeah, when you take in Ezekiel 40, that's when you get into him starting to describe the millennial / New Jerusalem, depending on what chapter you in. How can I put this down, right? You look at Ezekiel 34, right? Kind of talk about the gathering of the people by the chief shepherd. You get to Ezekiel 35, right? You go to talk about the beast because it's talking about Esau and his blasphemous. Ezekiel 36 talk about the gathering again. Ezekiel 37 go to talk about the resurrection of the dead and the people being made one. You know what I'm talking about? Being ruled over by the offspring of David. When you get to 38, you in the land chilling. Now Gog and Magog want to try to do you dirty. Gog and Magog get murked. You know what I'm talking about? Which is referencing what's in Revelation 20 and 7. So you get Ezekiel 38, you already in the 1,000-year reign. The Lord has returned, which is what Ezekiel 36 and 37 is alluding to. You get to 39, and now it's the cleaning up of the earth to get rid of Gog and Magog, because the Father is about to come dwell on the earth and bring the new heaven and new earth and new Jerusalem down from on high. And then Ezekiel 42-48 is describing the kingdom of heaven. You know what I'm saying? Well, the kingdom of heaven for the most part. And we know this because it starts describing the tree of life in chapter 47. And it starts describing the gates of the city, which are named after the 12 tribes. And the chapter ends with the name of the city is Yahuwah is there. Matter of fact, let's see what Yahuwah is there mean in Hebrew. So give me that. Ezekiel 48 and 35. Ezekiel 48 and 35, then read the verse for him, and then you can define it.
So it was round about 18,000 measures, and the name of the city from that day shall be Yahuwah is there.
Now, I'm going to just use this one here to get us to him that overcome. You'll sit down in his throne, because the anointing with the eye salve, that's pretty easy. We get to Psalms 119, and we're going to be pretty much done with that. You know what I'm saying? When I get to the verse 18 that I actually wanted in Psalms 119, I just wanted to read some other stuff along the way. But tell him Yahuwah is there. Should be a very simple, straightforward definition.
And Yahuwah, Sham, that Sham is just there, or from there.
How you spell that word?
Sham me.
Look like you've been paired to life if Yahuwah is there. And of course, it's just Yahuwah Psalm. And this, of course, this is an adverb of the time. Of time. So there will become a time where God will be there. And guess what happened when God is there? It's over. Ain't nothing else to talk about. Do me a favor, man. Ezekiel 37 and 27.
My tabernacle also shall be with them.
Uh-oh, my what?
My tabernacle also shall be with them.
Tell them what tabernacle is. You used to be walking around there trying to be like Bishop Don Juan talking about tabernacle. I forgot, you probably ain't listening. Whole bunch of niggas talking about tabernacle in church ain't never seen a hoe on a stroll a day in their life. What you looking like that? You ain't know that's why they said that? Man, that's Chicago pimp talk. You know, Bishop Don Juan was an ordained minister, all that tabernacle. Church, that was Chicago pimp talk. Yeah, that's pimp. That's pimp vernacular. Only from Chicago, because niggas in the California pimps don't talk like that unless they around rappers. Whatnot. Oh, I thought you knew that was pimp verbiage. You probably was singing right along, didn't even know it. Say, will the Saints be with Yahuwah when he fights, or will he be on a literal horse? Now, whether he's on a literal horse or not, Emma, that I cannot say. But will the Saints fight? No. The Saints will sit back and watch the show, if you would, huh? Yeah, Bishop Don. You don't remember him from Snoop Dogg's music videos? He was all in it. Nigga wore the green. The green's for the money, the gold for the honey. Yeah, he was a pastor the whole time. That's why he called himself Bishop Don Juan.
Come on, man.
That is Mishkan, got a residence, including a shepherd's hut, a litter of animals. The temple, specifically the tabernacle.
Temple or the tabernacle. Now, yeah, I know what you're referring to, Emma, is the day of the Lord. So this is what we need to do for Emma's question, right? And we'll come back to Ezekiel 37 real quick. I need you to go to Joel chapter 3. I need you to pick it up at verse 11. Is what's in my mind. And after that, Zephaniah chapter 1. Because this still ties into Psalms 110, because in Psalms 110, everybody just focus on the priest forever after the order of Melchizedek, and not the fact that he talking about that he gonna be killing people. This priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. But yeah, when he come back, Emma, the saints that he coming with, that's referencing Jude, are angels. That's why it says that in Revelation 19, he coming with angels. The actual saints, they won't have to lift up a weapon at that point, the same way that we didn't have to lift one up leaving out of Egypt or out of Babylon. Though you didn't war your way out of Babylon. For all intents and purposes, we warred our way out of Egypt. Remember what Moses said to him? He said, sit still and see the salvation of Yahuwah. Be still, I should say. Go ahead.
Assemble yourselves and come, all you heathen, and gather yourselves together round about.
Gather yourself what?
Gather yourselves together round about.
Oh no, what he said before that? You who?
You heathen.
You who?
You heathen.
You goyim, you nations. Go ahead.
And there cause your mighty ones to come down, O Yahuwah.
Call them.
Let the heathen be wakened and come up to your valley of Jehoshaphat.
Get on up and come on to the valley of decision.
For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put you in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe.
The harvest is ripe. If you recall, when we read Revelation 14, it was him in the putting in the sickle to reap. We have to remember during the time of the coming of the Lord, the children of Yasharal will be in great tribulation and sufferings at that time. Let's take a look at that. Jeremiah 30 and 5. Make it forward.
Come on. These are the words that Yahuwah spake concerning Yasharal.
What he spoke. What he said.
Thus saith Yahuwah, we have heard a voice of trembling.
Heard a voice of what?
Of trembling.
What else have you heard?
Of fear.
Oh, what else?
And not of shalom.
Oh my.
Ask you now and see whether a man do travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins?
You ever seen a bunch of men with their hand on their hips?
As a woman in travail.
That means what they in consternation right now. What's going on?
And all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahuwah of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off your neck.
It's the time of Jacob's who?
Jacob's trouble.
My God.
And will burst your bonds, and strangers shall no more serve.
Tell them what trouble means. Daniel chapter 12, like David did, either when he fought Goliath with no sword. Yeah, but and he took him out with the smooth stones, right? But you ain't gonna take nobody out with nothing. You just finna sit back. Because remember, in this situation, he the husband, you the wife. He coming to save you. He don't need his old lady to fight beside him.
God, Sarah, tightness, adversary, adversity, affliction, anguish, distress,
anguish, tribulation. This is a time of distress. Daniel 12 and 1.
that time shall Mikael stand up, the great prince will stand up for the children of the people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same time. And at that time your people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book.
So there'll be a time of trouble like you ain't never seen. Deuteronomy 32 and 35.
And to me belong vengeance and recompense, their foot shall slide in due time.
The foot shall slide in what?
In due time.
What else?
For the day of their calamity is at hand.
At hand.
And the things that shall come upon them make haste.
Make hate come quick.
For Yahuwah shall judge his people and repent himself for his servants when he see that their power is gone and none shut up or left.
When their power is what?
Gone.
And shut up.
Or left.
So they're not going to have the ability to wage war against their enemies, if you would.
He shall say, where are their gods, their rock whom they trusted, which did eat the fat of their sacrifices and drank the wine of their drink offerings? Let them rise up and help you and be your protection. See now that I am he, and none God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand.
That's good. I want you to come back to Psalms 110. I want you to look at verse 5. And this is how we got Zephaniah 1 on deck. And this is also how you know that this isn't David. It says, and the Lord at your what?
Right hand.
The Lord at your what?
Right hand.
Now this takes us back to what he said in Psalms 110 and 1. Yahuwah said unto my Lord, sit you at my right hand. He said, Yahuwah said unto my Lord, sit where?
Right hand.
And then he said, the Lord at your what?
Right hand.
Will strike through who?
King.
In the day of your
wrath.
The day of your what?
Wrath.
Of his wrath. Whose wrath? The Lord's wrath or Yahuwah's wrath? Look at verse 6. He shall judge
among the heathen.
Now it never said that David would judge the heathen. And he shall fill the places with what?
With the dead bodies.
And he shall wound the head of what?
Over many countries.
And he'll drink of the brook.
In the way,
therefore,
shall he lift up the head.
See, nobody want to talk about that. This king and priest is going to come through and stamp out his enemies. The very thing that David did not do, this man is going to do. Revelation 11 and 14. Go ahead.
Say the second woe is past. Behold, the third woe come quickly. And the seventh Malachim sounded.
Amen.
And there were great voices in Shamaim saying,
what they say?
The kingdoms of this world are become of our Lord and of his Mashiach, and he shall reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders which sat before Elohim on their seats fell upon their faces. And
they're going to become the kingdom of, become his. That's what it said, right? Now let's come back to Zephaniah 1 and 4.
I will also stretch out my hand upon Yehuda and upon all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and I will cut off the remnants of Baal from this place in the name of the Chemarims with the priests, and them that worship the host of Shamaim upon the housetops, and them that worship and that swear by Yahuwah.
I'll get to verse 14. That's too much. Zephaniah 1 and 14.
The great day of Yahuwah is near, it is near, and haste greatly, even the voice of the day of Yahuwah. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly.
The mighty man shall what?
Cry there bitterly.
We already heard he said he'd come back with a shout in Jeremiah. Come on.
That day is a day of wrath.
A day of what?
A day of wrath.
Of trouble.
And distress.
A day of
wasteness and desolation.
A day of
darkness and gloominess.
A day of
clouds and thick darkness.
A day of the what?
The trumpet and alarm.
Pause. What he said he coming back with. Now listen. How do you get the trumpet and the alarm? See, this is where you know. This is where you know your law come into play at. It says it's a day of the trumpet and alarm. So then when you go back to Numbers 10, let's go back. Somebody might not know that this is what the day of memorial blowing the trumpets is about. It is number 10 and 1.
And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, make you 2 trumpets of silver, of a whole piece shall you make them, that you may use them for the calling of the assembly, and for the journeying of the camp. And when they shall blow with them all, the assembly shall assemble themselves.
Start over.
And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Make you 2 trumpets of silver, of a whole piece shall you make them, that you may use them for the calling of the assembly, and for the journeying of the camps. When they shall blow with them all, the assembly shall assemble themselves to you at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
Mm-hmm.
If they blow with 1 trumpet, then the princes, which are the heads of the thousands of Yasharal, shall gather themselves unto you. When you blow an alarm, then the camps that lie on the east part shall go forward. When you blow an alarm the second time, then the camps that lie on the south side shall take their journey. They shall blow an alarm for their journeys. But when the congregation is to be gathered together, you shall blow, but you shall not sound an alarm. And the sons of Aaron, the priest.
Now I got to ask you a question. When is the alarm blown? And when is the trumpet blown for the gathering of the people? That's why it's separated. It's the day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. So how are you going to be able to delineate both? Dwayne Jamal. Come on. Oh, you ain't got a response for that? You ain't got nothing for that? How are you going to be able to go on the text and recognize when that's an alarm for you to being blown for you to move because of danger and the trumpet for the gathering to the door? Now, this is supposed to be light work. He just read that. Now you got to ascertain where that's at. This light work. Y'all finna fail again. It's already summer school. That means you finna flunk out. Now you're going to have to go work at TJ Fridays, man. Washing dishes. They ain't going to let you wash your dishes. You look like you leave food on it. So I seen cheese on there, but I sent it out there. Nasty. Spots on the forks. How you get fired for washing dishes?
That's why they get paid for the people.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Hold on, y'all. Let's come over here to Revelation chapter 15. That is correct. Hold on, that ain't what I want. The wrong one, my bad. My bad. Revelation chapter 8, if you would. I'm sorry. Praise Yahuwah. They do play a role, Golden. They do play a role. So you come over here to Revelation 8:1. Well, not 8:1. Yeah, 8:1. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
When he had opened the 7th seal, there was silence in Shamaim about the space of half an hour. And I saw the 7 Malachim which stood before Elohim. To them were given 7 trumpets.
Given what?
7 trumpets.
What happened?
And another Malachim came and stood at the altar.
That's correct, Rohan.
Having a golden censer, and it was given unto him much incense, that he should offer with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which is before the throne.
Drop to verse 7. We'll make it 6.
And the 7 Malachim which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound.
The first Malachim
sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the arats, and the third part of trees was.
So this is an alarm that war coming. But this is not the war you looking for, though. This war from heaven. What come down? Fire and what?
Brimstone.
That is
hail.
Hail.
And
mingle with blood. What that take you back to? Take you back to what happened during the time of the plagues of Egypt. What's the next? The second Malachim sounded, and it was what?
A great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea.
And the third part of the sea
became blood.
And the third part
of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died.
And the third part
of the ships were destroyed.
And the third Malachim sounded.
And there fell a great star from Shamaim,
burning.
As it were a lamp.
And it fell
upon the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of waters.
And the name of the star
was called Wormwood.
And the third part of the waters
became Wormwood. Many men died of the waters because they were made bitter.
And the fourth Malachim
Sounded.
and the third part,
The sun was smitten.
and the third part of the
moon.
And the third part of the
stars.
So as the third part of them
Was darkened.
And the day shone not.
For a third part of it.
And the night.
Likewise.
You imagine that, man? You ain't got no light in the daytime, no light at night. Go ahead.
And I beheld.
Now, why you ain't got no light in the daytime and no light at night? Because niggas sinning all day. So that's what he's getting symbolic of. Because he say if a man walk in darkness, he know not where he goes. So he's showing the whole earth is out of course, walking in darkness. So since you love darkness, I'm going to give you darkness. Go ahead.
And I beheld and heard a Malachim flying through the midst of Shamaim, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the Arats by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of 3 Malachim.
And the fifth Malachim sounded.
And I saw a star fall from Shamaim unto the Arats, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit.
And he opened the bottomless pit.
And there arose a smoke out of the pit.
As the smoke of a
great furnace.
And the sun
and the air were darkened
by reason.
Of the smoke of
now,
the
can
pit.
you imagine that, seeing that the smoke is so black that it blacking out the sun and the sky? Go ahead. Now, what I'm telling you, people talking about Bible prophecy being fulfilled, that ain't going on out here. And because somebody set something on fire, don't mean that that's being fulfilled. Like this something where you finna be amazed. Remember what we read earlier? Well, we didn't read it in Joel. He said that the people will be troubled, but he will be the strength of his people. You're going to see some stuff, man. That junk going to have you weak in the knees, boy. Yeah, these people ain't ready for that, man. These niggas just talking. I just seen a video this morning, man. Lady talking about United States need to stay out of it and mind your business. No, the hell they don't. The United States need to do whatever God bid them to do. And you know what the crazy part was? A jackass reporter gonna ask Trump, are you gonna attack these people? That man looked at them like, why would you ask me that? And the fact that you thought I would answer it. That man say, I may bomb him, I may not. Nobody knows what I'm gonna do. Truth be told, she was mocking him. That was the perfect response. That's a response of a man of power would give. Because you don't ask me no stupid behind question like that, thinking I'm finna tell you what I'm finna do. About war. Oh, yeah, we're going to shoot missiles on. He actually said that, yeah, we're going to tell them when we're going to shoot them so they can be ready. Like, come on, man. We're going to descend in World War III. You scary niggas, man. Niggas scared. You know what I'm talking about? Niggas ain't ready for these plays, man, I'm telling you. Man, what's going to go down out here, man? These people not ready for that, man. They're just not ready for that. Go ahead.
And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the Arats, and unto them was given power as the scorpions of the Arats have power.
And it was, you know what the people tell you them locusts is? Fighter jets. I see the dude say, you better get ready to get your superpowers. You ain't finna get no superpower. You already got one. It's called you dumb. But all jokes aside, I'm just being funny. It ain't his fault. He was taught that, though. You know who teach that you're going to get superpower? No, that GMS teach that. Yeah, they teach that. They teach that what you read in Joel, that you'll run and jump over walls and all that. I'm dead serious, bro. Now, I be funny sometimes. I know the dude who said I was really busting my ball. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, they really believe you're going to get superpowers, bro. And they waiting to get these superpowers like we're going to be real life like X-Men and all that type of stuff, bro. People believe it, bro. People really superpowers to kill the heathen. Yeah, you need superpowers to kill man. Bro, they teach this now. He said, will we get capes too? So after the tribulation, the stars fall and the moon turning to blood. It's because of the darkness of sin. Yes, ma'am. And for signs and wonders. So they can know the wrath of God coming. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. I'll read that verse in Joel. We still holding Ezekiel 37, by the way.
And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of their rats, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of Elohim in their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And the torment was the torment of a scorpion when they strike a man.
And in those days shall men seek
death,
and shall not
find it.
Men shall seek what?
Death,
and shall not
find it.
Men gonna seek what?
Death,
and shall not
find it.
And shall desire to die.
And death shall flee from them.
Well, that ain't happening out here, man. Everybody think that when it's over with, It's just, a war gonna go down. Shalom, brother, my man, and people gonna get grabbed. Man, this man is finna bring some real live trouble to all his enemies. You have to understand something. These people will be worshiping the devil, blaspheming his name, disregarding his tabernacle, slaying his servants, and all that. Say, ask if it what sound they making when the spaceships come. That's what your cousin say.
Oh, nah, he talking about because his brother was in the camp and he was talking about spaceships.
Oh, they believe in that. They say the chariots is the spaceships. You know what's funny? When you hear them people say they get abducted by aliens, they never grab niggas. Always white people, and they always probing them too. I be like, what's up with that? Easy target. I did have a sister ask me this yesterday, right? She was like, why does it seem like demonic attack happens when you asleep? And I'm like, yeah, demons don't attack you when you sleep. You know, that's Christian theology, if you would. Demons gonna come at you when you standing up on your feet, wide awake, and your lust in your face. Because if you got an unclean spirit on you, shoot, you might not be able to go to sleep. You know what I'm talking about? Now, I know that come from, you know, the demon riding your back, a.k.a. sleep paralysis type of deal. So it's a rational, you know what I'm saying, thought process. Don't get me wrong. But when you read the text, though, unclean spirits don't come at you when you sleep. You know what I'm talking about? They come at you when you woke. You know why they need you woke? Because I either need to make your life a living hell, or I need to try to tempt you into doing something so you can go to hell. Come on. You say you prefer Naruto's abilities, or the deal is off? I know nothing of Naruto. That boy say Shun. Hell no. Not Shun. How you know what a spaceship gonna make? Nigga ain't never seen one. Nigga ain't never been to Orlando. That man ain't never been to Orlando. That boy ain't never been to Cape Canaveral, man. That boy must have been flying with Elon. Go ahead. You know, Elon say he been to space. They all say they been to space. Them nigga been in the Hollywood. Why you rolling your eye about that man? That man ain't did none of you. What he lie about? That man say he been to space. He paid the bread. Well, he didn't go, but he said he sent niggas. He said, man, he paid the bread, man. You don't know about him. His name Elon Musk. That's funny, his name Musk. That nigga stink. They said that nigga got about 20 kids. Don't take care of none of them. I know you know all the gossip. Nah, nigga was messing with somebody had a clubhouse room talking about why he don't get ridiculed, but Nick Cannon do. Cause he not a celebrity, nigga. It ain't nobody ragging on Nick Cannon, but regular people. No, there's a difference though. Ain't nobody talking about Nick Cannon but black women. Why he making them? Ain't nobody else cares. White people don't sit around talking about why Elon got all them kids. They don't give a damn. Yeah, they don't give a damn. And it's the aspect of this, not all jokes aside, right? Now, this is just the aspect of how human relations have gone through the entirety of human existence. A man, Nick Cannon as well, a man of that type of wealth and means, they're supposed to reproduce like that. It's pretty much expected. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty much expected. So the thought process of where he got all these broken homes, I mean, effectively in a different time in human history, those women more than likely would have been concubines, and that's it. And that is the problem in the United States of America, that a lot of women who are concubines think that they should be held as wives, and they think this is a broken home. It's not a broken home. You're a concubine. You just don't live in a society where concubines are at. And that's it. Because like how the kids gonna get one-on-one time when they see him? But his kids live with him. And some of them kids ain't even his. 2-3 of them kids are not even his. So he raising somebody else's kids in his house. But don't nobody talk about that though. Yeah, 2 of them, 3 of them kids ain't even his. Yeah, that's a woman he was with who had some churn. He took his baby and said, you know what? You can give me your kids too. Ain't nobody calling her no raggedy hoe. You gave your kids to a nigga that ain't even make daddy. That's what I mean by that's the hypocrisy of the internet. Because if Russell Wilson would have did something like that, they would have screamed and loved, and you just don't like him. You just don't like Nick for whatever reason. I'm just being dead serious. Yeah. That man got 2 kids that are not his in his house every day. And you worrying about him not being married. Not the fact that he got another man's kids in his house and he's not with the woman. Now, how many men you know finna adopt somebody else's kids and say, yeah, man, come on in my house? Not just go to the adoption agency and adopt kids, but take 2 kids of a woman who you ain't with no more. She out here living the dream. Well, they look at it having a broken home as y'all had kids and y'all live separate. But I agree with you. If you wasn't never married, the house wasn't never broke. Y'all were hunting. You know what I'm saying? And then y'all had children. You know what I'm saying? So that's your fault for going about things in an incorrect fashion. You know what I'm talking about? But I mean, Nick explicitly said that he believed he was going to die and he wanted to have offspring in the earth before he died. So that was his rationale. I mean, Elon Musk got more money than any of his offspring probably would. Well, let me say not money, just assets and wealth, period, that probably any of his offspring could ever squander. Because they be like, oh, he got nannies. But I be like, but that's what y'all be asking for when you want a soft life, hope. So which one you want? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man, you can't have both ways. So people just be talking. You know what I'm saying? I say that because ain't nobody gonna have no soft life. You know how many millionaires it is out here? It ain't a lot. Relative to the world's population. How many people they say in the world? Now, how many millionaires you think it is, man? That are men. That's gonna look at you and say, you know what? I'm gonna just be with you for the rest of my days. Yeah, that's probably not gonna happen. That's why pretty too many godly men don't get that type of bread. Because boy, he probably gonna get corrupted. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't saying that to be like, no, man, that's a lot of temptation, man. That's why Paul told you that. You gotta look here, man. I don't care how strong you is, boy. Can't nobody get tempted multiple times a day. And I ain't talking about just with no courtness. Because there's more temptations with having wealth than courtness. You know what I'm saying? Let's just be 100% honest with that. Ain't nobody that strong that you could get tempted multiple times a day and you endure that and you don't fold. You flesh and blood, boy. Ain't nobody that strong, man. I'm just taking it back to what he said right when we were talking about, you know, the hour of temptation and stuff with temptation. What he said, pray that you lead not into temptation. Because, man, I'm telling you, man, I don't care how strong you think you is, man. Ain't nobody that strong. You know how you think you that strong? Because you might go a whole week and only get tempted once. Maybe not tempted at all. Now imagine if you live in your day and you got tempted 5, 6, 7 times. I ain't talking about a proposition or something you ain't want to do. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't talking about somebody trying to show desire towards you and you ain't want them. I'm talking about genuine temptation 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times a day, every day. Ain't nobody that strong. Ain't nobody that strong. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody that strong. You can wield off a couple. You talking about 7 or 8? Say you used to drink, you ain't trying to drink. Everywhere you go, niggas got liquor. You know what I'm saying? Like everywhere you turn around, brother, you want to drink? You want to drink? Here come a butt naked woman with a drink. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. That's a lot, bro. That's a lot. You know what I'm saying? And you'll look at people, I would have never did that. You ain't never got to worry about if you would have did it. You ain't never be in that position. So you don't know what you would do. That's why you always just say, I hope I wouldn't do that. I pray not. You don't know what you would do. It's real easy to say what you wouldn't do in a situation you'll never be in. Shoot, some of these, like a lot of dudes be like, man, I would never do such and such. Man, I only say this because it's in my brain because I didn't know a dude sued Puffy before the federal indictment came out. I don't know how a nigga coerce you to having sex against your will. That nigga had to give me a favor. I'm like, how's that even possible? Nigga took your butt.
Yeah, so upon me.
He pressed the grapes.
They was together for a long time. Not just him, but they
Yeah, I know. I heard it.
they were the same whole
Ain't that much temptation in the world. Go ahead, cuz. You go ahead and pop this chair. That's a shame, boy. He got curved because he told the whole world nigga broke his freshness seal. And he ain't get paid. That's the word part. Nigga took your booty and you ain't get paid. Yeah, that's why he sued. Because he didn't get paid. Nigga say, you gonna take my butt and not pay me? Yeah. No, the reason why he sued is he produced records for this man. And then I produced all these records for your album. You took my butt and didn't pay me for my work. So that tells me if he would have paid him for the work, he would have disregarded that his butt got to him. Bruh. This is the world we live in, man. But I only mention that because I don't know who would be tempted with that. But obviously he was. You know what I'm talking about? But I mentioned hey man, that man literally might have wanted to be a producer and wealthy so bad. Because people be like, oh, how can he do this to Cassie or this? Man, some people be tempted at the opportunity of wealth, fame, and power so bad. Man, they'll do a lot of things that they don't want nobody to know they would do. Now, see, you might not go for that because you might not want wealth, fame, and power. So somebody offered you this opportunity, you'd be like, oh, nigga, hell no. But if you got a desire for wealth, fame, and power, you're like, there's a dog in the back, you like to do. Now you round up messing with it. Yeah, you like to say on Fear Factor, all that crazy, and then it ain't even for no real money. Come on, man.
You down to about 30 after taxes.
Come on, man. Like, seriously. I know these are very extreme circumstances that the average person, specifically in the faith, would more than likely never encounter. You know what I'm saying? But I'm using that as an example. Like, well, depending on what your desires is, the more money you got, the more open you are to be exposed to them. Because money opened doors in places that you couldn't get in before. And that's why he told you, hey, don't focus on that. And don't focus on this and don't focus on that. Because you could get in the situation. I only want to mention this here is, we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Most people are never as strong as they think they are. And that's not necessarily to the negative, because you might be stronger than you think you are. And then you had to get in a situation for you to see how strong you really were. You didn't think you was that strong, but you really were. And then sometimes you think you're strong and you're really not as strong as you thought you were. You're really weaker. You know what I'm saying? You say I was about to say that. Which one is worse? Shoot, I don't know. I just heard of that story today. I may have heard it in the past, and maybe I just didn't remember, because the junk with Stevie J did sound familiar. But yeah, Lil Rod, they said. That's a hell of a name, considering the circumstances. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just mentioning that on cuz went out like that because I don't want to be famous that bad. I don't want to be wealthy that bad. Not to do that. Because the first time you would have asked me that, bro, you got to shoot me a fade. Say Joe Rogan had people eating sheep uterus and all. Like, come on, man. And you know what the key point? I told somebody this too, man. We'll move past this, right? An individual like Sean Combs, man, when you not accustomed to people telling you no and always capitulating to your demands and getting what you want, and you can pay people to get away with this and pay people to get away with that, I don't think people realize the level of pride that can cause in an individual to where he think he'll never get in trouble. That's why Ecclesiastes 8 and 11, it tells you what it says, because a sentence against an evil work isn't executed speedily. It's privily in the hearts of the sons of Adam to do evil. The more you can get away with doing foul stuff, the more it emboldens you to continue to do it. You know what I'm saying? And then some people look at, I can't see how the people will go for that because you putting yourself in their position. They're not you. Yeah, did some of them enjoy it? They probably did. And then after a while, they like, hey, my butt hurt. And I ain't getting paid. This not going to work for me. But the difference is that's how Satan gets you, though. What Puffy was doing, well, that's how Satan gets you, man. He play on your desires, your dreams, your aspirations, your ambitions. And then he say, you know, give me a little butt on the side. I got you. But when I say a little butt on the side, I'm not talking about homosexual relations. I'm talking about give me your soul, your manhood, your essence. Compromise your integrity, your morals, your values. Give me all that for this in return. That's what I'm talking about. You say you see a lot of people, they hollering out what they wouldn't do in slave and segregation days. Yeah, because they looking at it or what, because a lot of people feel like they looking at the mind frame they have now with the information they have now versus the people who were actually in that moment. So it's real easy to say what you would or wouldn't do when you have the benefit of hindsight looking back on what other people did or didn't do in a situation and circumstance. You know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, most of the people who said they wouldn't have went for that in slavery would have been the first ones to say to be like Samuel L. Jackson character in Django. Who that nigga is riding that nab? You gonna let him sleep in the big house? That's how a lot of them who say that, or I would have thought, no, you wouldn't. You would have went and laid down in the bed crying. They done took my wife. Seriously, and I ain't saying that to be disrespectful. I'm saying that because that's the reality. Everybody tough and gangster when you got the ability to know you ain't never gonna be in that position. Now, do some people who say that they gonna fight? Sure they is. Most people gonna do just what them people did. Your desire to stay alive is gonna be greater than your. And you know how I know this here? I told y'all plenty of time. I was in prison with killers, gangsters, and criminals of all types, and they watched that white major slap the fire out this man at Center Gate, and nobody moved, not even the nigga who got slapped. Cause boy, when he slapped the man, he said, "Man, you reckless eyeballing my woman." Bah! I just knew. I said, boy, I'm finna turn these 5 into life sentence. Boy, I know we finna Mardi Gras these crackers today. That's the first thought came in my mind. I know these niggas not going for this. These niggas did not move. Nobody moved. He didn't move. Because I ain't gonna lie. Them crackers would have killed me right then and there, boy. That man would have slapped me like that, boy. I would have squared up and fired him. Not because he white, not because he's CEO. Goddamn it, cracker, I'm a man first. Boy, I was a man when I came here, bro. You not finna disrespect me as no, but you not finna slap me like this. In front of people, too? You slap me intentionally for disrespect in front of people to emasculate me. It's one thing to slap me in private, ain't nobody see it. I ain't going for that, but I know intentionally and psychologically why you did this. This was to emasculate me. This was to humiliate me in front of all these men. But you not finna do that, bro. I was a man when I came here, and I'm gonna be a man when I leave here, whether that's on a stretcher or on my feet. I'm gonna leave here as a man, bro. I'm not going for that. I'm not going for that. Hell no. Man, I told they had me in the laundry room, man. I said like they selling out, that cracker talking crazy. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to punish the Asian nigga. And then I'm going to hit this cracker. Because I know by the time the rest of them get here, they going to stomp my face in. But this nigga going to remember me, though. So nah, I'm not finna sit here and ball up and let you beat on me, man. You know why I said it? Because I ain't finna let an inmate do me like that. So why I'm going to let you do it? And plus, I ain't look at no inmate as no enemy. You not the enemy. They the adversary. So let's whoop them. Them boys wasn't on that, man. Them boys wasn't on that. And that's when I knew, well, I knew this before I got there. Niggas ain't gonna ride. Let me do my 5 years and get the hell out of here. You know what I'm saying? Because we were talking about this the other day. That you could go to prison with 3 years and it can turn into a life sentence. Like that. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Nigga run up on you. Now you got an extra charge, man. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You think you just gonna go up there and do some time? Junk might happen, man. You might have to kill somebody. And they don't even care if it's self-defense. You still getting charged. You know what I'm saying? City, no. Dude could have came at you with a full knife, stabbed you in your shoulder. You could have took the knife and stabbed him and he died. They still gonna charge you with that body. And they know it's self-defense. And you still gonna get some more time. Yeah, man. Come on with it. Huh? Yeah, man, they don't care. Yeah, they don't care, man. Yeah, they don't care, man. That's not an environment you want to be in anyway. Only go to jail for the word, man. Or if somebody trying to do something to your wife or kids, man. You know what I'm saying? Or if you with your brother, somebody threatening their life, you got to do what you got to do. Outside of that, ain't no reason to go to jail. Go ahead.
Revelation 9:7.
Go ahead.
Saying the shapes of the locusts were like on the horses prepared into battle, and on their heads were as crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men.
Mm-hmm.
And they had their hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions.
All right, go down to verse 13. We speed it up.
And the sixth Malachim sounded, and I heard the voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before Elohim, saying to the sixth Malachim, which had the trumpet, loose the four Malachim, which are bound in the great river Euphrates.
Mm-hmm.
And the four Malachim were loose, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the third part of men. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision. Then I sat on them, having breastplates of fire and of descent and of brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions.
Go ahead.
And out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone.
Hey.
Which issued out of their mouths.
I know who it is, boy.
For their power is in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt.
Come on.
And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands.
These are all the alarms as a warning for the sons of Yasharal.
That they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver, and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see, nor hear, nor walk. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication.
Now, can you imagine all them trumpets being blown and all them plagues getting dropped and people still didn't stop doing what they were doing? Because you got to understand something. They know these plagues coming from God. The same way that Egypt knew them plagues were coming from Yahuwah. They knew who them plagues were coming from. Now, go down to verse, 15. I'm sorry, in chapter 11. My bad. 11 and 15.
And the seventh Malachim sounded, and there were great voices in Shamaim saying, Mount Kus of this world are.
Now we read that already. Now when the seventh trumpet blow, now this is for the gathering of the people. Isaiah 26 and 12. And this is why it's important. That's why we take the time to look at certain things so you know your law. So when you read Zephaniah say a trumpet and an alarm, you know what I'm talking about? You know exactly why he's saying that. Because then when you go look in Revelation and you say, okay, this is why 7 trumpets are being blown. 6 are for an alarm. 1 is for the gathering of the people. Go ahead.
You will ordain shalom for us. You also have brought all our works in us.
I got you in the wrong. Am I in the right place? I'm in the wrong place. 27:12. I'm sorry. Isaiah 27:12. My bad.
And it shall come to pass in that day, Yahuwah shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, and you shall be gathered one by one, all you children of Yasharal. And it shall come to pass in that day, the great trumpet shall be blown. They shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcasts in the land of Egypt. They shall worship Yahuwah in God's mount at Jerusalem.
Now go look at 1 Thessalonians 4:13. Say hello, son. Hey, look. Say hello.
But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that you sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if we believe that Yahushua died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Yahushua will Elohim bring with him. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive will remain unto the coming of the Lord, shall not prevent them which are asleep.
What else?
For the Lord himself shall descend from Shamaim with a shout.
You see how that shout? We done seen that shout in 2-3 different places, correct? Jeremiah, Joel, Go ahead.
With the voice of the archangel and with the trump of Elohim.
With the what of Elohim?
The trump of Elohim.
And the dead.
And Hamashiach shall rise first.
Now this is the gathering of the people. So let's come back to Zephaniah 1 and 14. Oh, I forgot you got on Mary Jane. That's why you smell like that, boy. No, he always grabbed the Mary Jane cologne. The Mary Jane cologne smell like Kush.
Stand up. Stand up.
Say the great day of Yahuwah is near. It is near. And haste greatly. The voice of the day of Yahuwah. The mighty men shall cry there bitterly.
And the mighty man shall cry bitterly. Who is that mighty man? Yahushua is that mighty man. That is the day of what?
Of wrath.
The day of what?
Trouble and distress.
A day of what?
Wasteness and desolation.
A day of what?
Darkness and gloominess.
And remember what Amos told you? Why you seek the coming of the day of Yahuwah? It's a day of darkness and not like it's like a day when a man ran from a what, Sippy? And got caught by what? What happened when he put his hand on the wall? Serpent bit. Come on with it.
A day of clouds and thick darkness. A day of the trumpet and alarm.
Against the what?
The fenced cities.
And against the
high towers.
And I will bring distress
upon men, that they shall walk like blind men.
Because they sinned against
Yahuwah,
and their blood
shall be poured out as dust.
And their flesh.
As the dung.
You see how he said he'll bring distress? That's what all them trumpets was about. That ain't even the vials. That ain't even the vials. The vials is referred strictly for the beast and his kingdom. But that's another conversation. Come on with it.
Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of Yahuwah's wrath. But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy. And he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land.
Now come over here to Zechariah 14. This goes into what Emma asked also. 14 and you could get 14 and 3.
Then shall Yahuwah go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west. A very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south. You shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. Yea, you shall flee like as you fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Yahuwah. And Yahuwah Elohim shall come
with all the saints with it. Now, Yahushua coming from Shamahim, so that means he ain't bringing no man ain't coming with it. So these are Malakim that's coming with it. Revelation 19 in him. And this is all the work of him that sit at his right hand. See, when you sit down with him in his throne at his right hand, guess what? Now all your enemies are your footstool as well, because you're going to stamp them out. That's what Psalms 149 come in at. You know, Yahushua get the party started. You know what I'm saying? And you get divided later. He get the party started.
And I fell at his feet.
You know that song? Just get it started. Oh. Damn, y'all don't know MC Hammer? Your people let you down. Hell no, nigga. Talking about Hammer, nigga. What, let's get it started? No, that's not how that song go, man. Oh, you talking about Black Eyed Peas? I forgot. I'm sorry. Y'all wasn't even, most of y'all wasn't even born when Hammer had his run. Because Hammer had a run. You know what I'm saying? You had Too Legit to Quit. Let's get it started. You can't touch this. That man had a run. He had a cartoon and everything. Man, it wasn't the biggest entertainer on the planet other than Michael Jackson during Hammer run, man. Hammer was a big deal at that time, boy. He would take that, and he was a real nigga. And it's the crazy part, a real gangster. That's the crazy part, a real gangster. Not no, he pretended like he was a gangster before he started. You know what I'm saying? Nigga just thought because he had parachute pants on dancing, he was soft. That nigga was a real gangster. Like, I'm going to up this fight and we could throw hands. Which one you want? Man, I remember seeing Red Man talk about Hammer walked up on him. That nigga was scared. He ain't know Hammer was like that. Say Hammer came and got some straight. He said, I apologize, sir. Nah, Chris Brown ain't no real blood, man. If Chris Brown a real blood, man, I got some blood I can sell you right now, man. Kill you every disease known to man. That man paid to be a blood. I ain't mad at him. Shoot, they fool with him. Who am I to say something?
So you don't have to pay the extortion.
Yeah. I forgot we got to pray just to make it today. That was a big one for him, too. You don't know about that one either, do you? Yeah, he had a song, man. That man literally had people all across the United States of America singing, we got to pray. We got to pray just to make it today. That was wild. Damn so good. Damn so. No, he's from the Bay. You know them niggas from the Bay, man. They different. Yeah, they different. Yeah, he's from the Bay. That Rohan picked up on that too. Talking about, I didn't even realize, I forgot Black Eyed Peas had a song called Let's Get It Started because they played it before all the NBA games. No, I'm listening to damn Black Eyed Peas.
Let's get started. We got some flex.
Could you imagine that playing before every NBA game? Let's get retarded. Oh, everybody's getting retarded. Now, Hammer with Stanley Burrell was a big deal, man. It was a big deal. Then you know how he got the name MC Hammer? Because they say he looked like Hank Aaron. Yeah, you know who that is, don't you? God damn, y'all niggas don't know who Hank Aaron is? You got to know who Hank Aaron is. He just died, too. Man, Hank Aaron was the former home run king, man, in Major League Baseball, man. That man called hell trying to break Babe Ruth's record. Man, that probably was mad. That man was getting death threats, all type of stuff. But his nickname was Hammer and Hank. So they say, oh, man, he looked like Hank Aaron. So they started calling him Hammer. Yeah, man, Hank Aaron, one of the greatest baseball players of all time. You know what I'm saying? They mad because there's two black men that's 1 and 2 for the record that white men in America hold that's high. White men don't care about NFL records, and they don't care about NBA records. They only care about Major League Baseball records. And their most hollowed record was most home runs in a season and most home runs in a career. And you know, Babe Ruth had both of them, and then a white dude by the name of Roger Ramirez passed Babe Ruth. He had 61. So they were mad with Mark because, you know, but they didn't really care because he was white. And I had Mark McGwire poster on my wall when he played Oakland. I ain't got no problem with Mark McGwire. But he hit 70. They didn't really care about he was on roids because he was white. It's because when Barry broke, they had a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? They kind of like Hank Aaron, you know, as time went on, you know what I'm saying? You talk about the 70s when Hank Aaron broke his record. In the South, because he was playing in Atlanta. You know what I'm talking about? So it was different. But when Barry broke his record too, they were mad because people don't like Barry Bonds. Because Barry Bonds don't give a damn. No, he don't. He don't care about what them people think about him, say about him. He didn't kiss behind because there was nothing they could do to shun him because he was undeniably probably the greatest hitter that anyone had ever seen. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, this man, how many home runs this man hit? This man didn't even get that many at bats. They walked him every time he came up. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Barry Bonds is the greatest baseball player I ever seen play. No doubt about it. I didn't see Willie Mays play. I seen Barry Bonds play. If it ain't Barry Bonds, it's Ken Griffey Jr. Them the greatest players I ever seen play. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? You know, you gotta remember, there's a lot of black people played baseball in the 80s and 90s. It's not like it is. Come on.
And I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, see not, I am your fellow servant and of your brethren.
Worship?
That is the testimony of Yahushua. Worship Elohim, for the testimony of Yahushua is the royal prophet.
Go ahead.
And I saw Shamahim open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. And in righteousness he do judge and make war.
In righteousness you do judge and make what?
Make war.
What else?
His eyes as a flame of fire, and on his head many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself.
Go ahead.
He was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of Elohim. And the armies in Shamahim followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen.
Who followed him on the white horse?
The armies. And out of his mouth go a sharp two-edged sword, or go a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. He shall rule them with a rod of iron.
Now, I take you back to what's in Zechariah 4. Oh, I didn't mention Sammy Sosa because Sammy Sosa wasn't the greatest baseball player of all time. No, he wasn't. Ezekiel 37:27. You know, Sammy was middle of the pack till he got to the Cubs, man. You remember, I collected baseball cards. So I knew all the movies. Sammy was decent, but he wasn't like that. He just had a hell of a run for a few years. Man. Maybe it was the steroids, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Yeah, but see, he had a couple seasons after that where it was like, yeah, he was getting off, but man, Sammy was mid before that. Maybe a slightly above mid. You know, saying somebody mid ain't disrespectful. He was average, above average baseball. Then he hit a stretch where you would think he would probably be one of the greatest players of all time. But he didn't do it consistently. Barry did it consistently for a long time. And he probably would have hit 800 home runs with 2,000 RBIs and 3,000 hits. If somebody would have signed him, they didn't want to sign him because of the steroid thing. But it's really because they didn't like him. And ain't nobody want to be fooled up with it. Go ahead.
So my tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people.
Go ahead.
And the heathen shall know that I, Yahuwah,
how you doing, Mama Steph?
Yasharal, and my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore.
Oh, should I say Mama Misanthrope? Any of y'all misanthropic? You know what that means? See, we finna look it up. I hope you're feeling better. I just wanted to use the opportunity to see if they knew what misanthropic meant.
Hey, I'll be quiet.
Hey, who want to get slapped upside the head first? It's probably Eugene. Yes, ma'am.
Say a general hatred, distrust, or dislike of humankind or human nature.
Just a general dislike of people. I don't like you things. That's what it may mean to be misanthropic. You just don't generally care for people. If you've been around enough people, I can see how you could end up that way. You know what I'm talking about? They definitely can grate your soul. But let's continue. Ezekiel 37. Jamal, that's not your cup. Huh? So that, hey, who you talking to? It's not yours. Come back to song.
When he get older, he don't know all this what you get to.
Okay, he better have his hands up today. No, they alike. This is what both of them do, and I believe he learned it from her. Now, this is what both of them do. Oh, they gonna squeal, scream, and holler till they get it. They got time for that, bro. They think everything there. They think they supposed to touch everything. No, for everything he want to touch it. See, it's not even the sleeves; it's the front of it. It looks like a judge's robe. Judge Doris. That's she need a TV show. Judge Doris. Because if they call it Judge Michael, gonna be confused. I thought a man was gonna be there. And then she got to tell the story all the time. You don't want to tell the story. And they worked with Judge Judy because her name was Judy. She could tell them I'm Jewish too, because only Jewish people name their daughter Doris. What would I need it right? Come back to Revelation 3 and 20. Oh no, I said Psalms 119. I need to get the I part out of the way. Yeah, he was. Bo Jackson would have been a real deal, but he wasn't that great of a hit. We stopped Psalms 119 and verse 14. And y'all doing too much. Boy, ain't nothing wrong with you, boy. Doing all that noise.
So I have rejoiced in the way of your testimonies as much as in all riches.
So we discussed that, what that looked like. Go ahead. I will meditate
in your precepts
and have respect
unto your ways.
I will delight myself
in your statutes,
and I will not forget
your word.
See, if you delight yourself in his word, how could you forget it? You wouldn't forget it, so guess what you wouldn't do? I guess you know. Deal bountifully.
With your servant, that I may live and keep your word.
Tell him what bountifully means. That's why you hit your head. He ain't going to feel it anyway. His head a little bit on the tank side anyway.
That is Gamal, to bestow on, to deal bountifully, to do good, recompense, to reward.
Deal good with me. Reward me. That I might live. Verse 18 is what we came here for.
Open you my eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of your law.
And that's what happened with the blind man. When he opened his eyes, he beheld wondrous things. So when you anoint your eyes with eye salve, you can behold wondrous things out of his law, i.e., the 1 John 5 we read earlier, the testimony, the witness, the faith of God, which leads to the victory. Now come back to Psalms 110 and 1, and then transpose that versus Revelation 3 and 20. Because that I love, as many as I love, I chasten and rebuke. I ain't gonna lie. If we really did take each thing out, because that chasten and rebuke is one thing by itself. That knocking at the door, one thing by itself. And the sit in the throne is one thing by itself. That would lead us to be at this particular topic at 19 parts. And I don't particularly care to do that. Because that means at that point, if we had, 16, there was a feast day in there somewhere. So that means we had about 4 weeks on this. Really 5. But I already knew that. I told you this was not going to be short. I don't want to take this to 16.
So Yahuwah said unto my Lord, sit you at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. Yahuwah shall send the rod.
Now he said, sit where am I where?
At my right hand.
Now who's the son of my right hand?
Benjamin.
So go to Revelation 3 and 20. You hit my son? And you think you're going to have to cover it up with a pacifier? Ain't nobody talking to me. He said, but I'm not okay. Struck me.
He said, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him and he with me. To him that overcome will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and am set down with my Abba in his throne.
I want you to go to Matthew 19 to 27. Now, this is not the same thing. It's something along those lines. Go ahead.
Then answered Peter and said unto him, behold, we have forsaken all and followed you. What shall we have therefore?
What?
Yahushua said unto them, truly I say unto you, that you which have followed me in the regeneration when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his esteem, you also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Yasharal.
Now I'm just looking at this because he's giving them a throne, correct? Now give me the Greek definition for throne.
Thronos, a seat, a throne.
Or a seat. Make sure it's the same word in what's the name? Revelation 3 and 21.
Yes, the same word, thronos.
So now he said, you're going to sit down in a seat. Now we read it when we started, which most people not here when we started, which is understandable. So we talk about it in the first 1 to 2 minutes. Read Revelation 1 and 4. After that, Revelation 5 and 6.
John to the 7 assemblies which are in Asia, grace unto you, and shalom from which is, and which was, and which is to come, and from the 7 ruachs which are before his throne, and from Yahushua HaMashiach, who is the faithful witness, and the first begotten of the dead, and the prince of the kings of the rats, unto him that loved us, and washed us from our sins in his own blood.
And what that blood did for you?
That made us kings and priests.
Made us what?
Kings and priests. Unto Elohim and his Abba.
Now, Revelation 5 and 6. We're establishing when you get the victory why you, because if you've been made kings, kings sit on thrones or sit in seats. Because what he said, if you suffer with him, you're what, said it? What does rain mean? Have dominion? Or because you can't stop the rain? At your window. You know that one, don't you? Okay. That's one. I said, I knew he had to have that one.
Then I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders to the Lamb, as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 ruachs of Elohim, sent forth into all the arrest. And he came and took the book out of the right hand of him that sat upon the throne.
What he said?
When he had taken the book, 4 beasts and 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having every one of them harps and golden vials full of odors, which are the prayers of saints. And they sung a new song, saying, You are worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for you were slain and have redeemed us, Elohim, by your blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation, and have made us unto our Elohim kings and priests, and we shall reign on the arrest.
Every son of God gets to rule. So where would you find that at? What verse would you point to show forth that all the sons of God get to rule with him? And you're not going to find this in the New Testament per se. Anybody going once? I'll give you some time. I will allow it. Give him Psalms 2 and 7. Dwayne.
I will declare the decree.
Dwayne.
Yahuwah have said unto me, You are my son, this day have I begotten you. Ask of me, and I shall give you the heathen for your inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the Arats for your possession. You shall break them with a rod of iron. You shall dash them to pieces like a potter's vessel.
See, I'll allow that one because it speaks of dominion and also stamping your enemies out. Anybody else? You got something over there yet, sir? Ezekiel 46 and 16. Hey, little boy. Pick it up. Give it to your mama. Now go over there to your mama.
Hey.
That way. Go that way. Go that way. Thank you, sir. What you laughing? Ezekiel, hold on. Yeah, Ezekiel 46 and 16. Oh no, Ezekiel 46 and all that, they already in the kingdom. This New Jerusalem time. So yeah, that's New Jerusalem. He asks, is that a similitude of the Ruach resting on sons forever versus in times past? Well, that's what Ezekiel 46 is way past that. You know what I'm saying? He getting the vision of the kingdom of heaven, not the kingdom of the Mashiach, the kingdom of heaven. Listen what he said. Because Ezekiel 47, the tree of life gets discussed. Then Ezekiel 48, the gates get discussed. And then the verse we read earlier about the name of the city is Yahuwah is there. 46 and 16.
Okay, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, if the prince give a gift unto many of his sons, the inheritance thereof shall be his sons.
The inheritance thereof shall be his what?
His sons.
The inheritance thereof shall be their what?
His sons.
And it shall be their what?
Possession by inheritance.
Tell them what a gift is. You like gifts, don't you?
That's metanah, a sacrificial offering, a bribe, a gift, a present.
A present. What present you think he giving you? Well, when you go back to, let's just look at them all, Sid. Revelation 2 and 7. Let's look at all these gifts he gonna give his sons. Let's look at all of them in context of what we've been talking about with these 7 assemblies. Revelation 2 and 7.
He that have an ear, let him hear what the rock saying to the assemblies. To him that overcome will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of Allah.
If you get the victory by Yahushua HaMashiach, the tree of life is your inheritance by right. Because what we just asked of thee, he said, I give you the heathen for your inheritance, right? But you got more inheritance than just ruling over the Goyim. So one of them gifts he giving you is the tree of life, right? Now read Revelation 2 and what? 11.
He that have an ear, let him hear what the rock saying to the assemblies. He that overcomes shall not be heard of the second death.
If you believe that Yahushua is the son of Elohim, this is our victory, even our faith. One of the gifts he gives his son is to overcome death. Let's look at the next thing he's saying in verse 17, same chapter.
He that have an ear, let him hear what the rock saying to the assemblies. To him that overcome will I give to eat of the hidden manna. And will give him a white stone, and in the stone a new name written, which no man knows.
Now he gonna give you hidden angels food and a new name and a stone to be built upon that nobody won't know that name but you. Now let's look at verse 26, same chapter.
And he that overcome and keep my works until the end, to him will I give power over the nations.
Go ahead.
And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Abba.
And I will give him
the morning star.
He gonna give you life and dominion over your enemies. Chapter 3, verse 5.
He that overcome, the same shall be clothed in white raiment.
That's that same white raiment that will do what? Cover your nakedness, that your shame don't appear.
And I will not blot out his name out of the book of life.
And you'll stay in the genealogy of those in heaven.
But I will confess his name before my Abba.
And he'll bear witness to you of you before his Father. Now let's look at verse 12.
Him that overcome will I make a pillar in the temple of my Elohim. He shall go no more out, and I will write upon him the name of my Elohim.
In the name
of the city of my Elohim,
which is
New Jerusalem,
which come down
from my Elohim,
and I will write upon him
my new name.
This is an inheritance. This is a gift he's given to his sons. Verse 21, same chapter.
To him that overcome will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and am sat down with my Abba in his throne.
Now let's establish how you sons. Chapter 21, book of Revelation, verse 4.
And Elohim shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful.
Mm-hmm.
And he said unto me, It is done. I'm the Aleph and the Tav, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of water and life freely. He that overcomes shall inherit all things.
Shall inherit what?
All things.
Inherit what?
All things.
And
I will be his Elohim.
And he shall
be my son.
Now let's come back to Ezekiel 46. Who's making all that noise? Verse 16.
Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, if the prince give a gift unto any of his sons, the inheritance thereof shall be his sons. It shall be their possession by inheritance.
If he give a gift
of his inheritance to one of his servants,
then it shall be his
to the year of liberty. After it shall return to the prince, but his inheritance shall be his sons for them.
Moreover,
the prince shall not take of the people's inheritance by oppression to thrust them out of their possession, but he shall give his sons inheritance out of his own possession, that my people be not scattered.
Now, if he's giving them inheritance out of his own possession, when you look at when you talking about his servants, those ain't sons. You know what I'm talking about? You got to get that back. Now, when you take it in context, we went further with the gifts, but the gift in this instance is the land. You know what I'm talking about? Or the allotment in the land. They got to get that back. But his sons don't have to get nothing back. You know why? Because it's their right by what? Inheritance. Come back to verse 4, chapter 45. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to make sure I ain't skip over nothing. I just was looking at it. Girl, ain't nothing wrong with you. No, we good. But that's what you're looking at right there, right? He get gifts to all his sons. Is there right by inheritance? Because read Revelation 21:7 one more time. Girl, hush. 21:7 again.
He that overcomes shall inherit all things, and I'll be his Elohim, and he shall be my son.
Here she be my what?
My son.
And
but the fearful and unbelieving, and the abominable, and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers, and idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake, which burn with fire and brimstone.
This is the part that we had to realize. In the kingdom of heaven, it ain't nothing but sons and daughters there. You know what I'm saying? Anything else other than that, you got a problem. You know what I'm talking about? You got a problem. You don't want to be a servant in the kingdom of heaven. You want to be a son of God. Because the only thing you got to do is what, Sid? Revelation 7 and 9, it'll tell you.
So after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands.
Mm-hmm.
And cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our Elohim, which sit upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. And all the Malachim stood round about the throne, and about the elders, and the four beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces, and worshipped Elohim.
Yeah, that's what you get to do. Everybody get to worship and praise God. And just on the strength. Jeremiah 33 and 20. You all right, boy? Make it 8. 33 and 8. I won't lead it.
And I will cleanse them from all their iniquity, whereby they have sinned against me. And I will pardon all their iniquities, whereby they have sinned, and whereby they have transgressed against me.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall be to me a name of joy.
Pause. You see how that go back to that graciousness we talked about last night? That's forgiveness, that's kindness, that's compassion. Go ahead.
It shall be to me a name of joy, of praise and honor
He
before
said,
all the nations.
He said for him to do that for you is a name of joy and praise for him. Go ahead.
For all the nations of the Arats, which shall hear all the good that I do unto them, and they shall fear and tremble for all the goodness and for all the prosperity that I procure unto you.
What else?
Thus saith Yahuwah again,
what he said?
There shall be heard in this place which you shall say, desolate, without man and without beast.
What they gonna hear?
In the cities of Yehuda and the streets of Jerusalem.
What they gonna hear?
Desolate, without man and without inhabitant and without beast.
But what they gonna hear?
The voice of joy.
The voice of what?
Of gladness.
And the who?
The voice of the bridegroom.
And the who?
The voice of the bride.
And who else?
The voice of them that shall say, praise Yahuwah of hosts, for Yahuwah is good, for his mercy forever.
Let me tell you something, man. What that man saying is a vision that he showed the man, and it very well could be you whose voice he heard. Read it again.
The voice of joy, the voice of gladness,
the voice of
the bridegroom,
the voice of
the bride, the voice of them that shall say, praise Yahuwah of hosts, for Yahuwah is good, for his mercy endure forever.
Read it again.
The voice of joy, the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom, the voice of the bride, the voice of them that shall say, praise Yahuwah of hosts, for Yahuwah is good, for his mercy endure forever.
Go ahead.
And of them that shall bring a sacrifice of praise into the house of Yahuwah, for I will cause to return the captivity of the land as at the first, saith Yahuwah.
You realize in Revelation 7, you seeing them people bring the sacrifices of praise, among other things. What you crying for? Well, you falling out like you can't pay your rent. Or they cut your food stamp short? Oh, they did? Well, come here, fat baby. What you crying for? Huh? I can't understand what you're saying. Sound like you chewing rocks. Well, what you crying for? What you crying for? Your mama said no? So that means you fall out on the floor? I think you need to sit down and be quiet. You're disturbing other people. It's quite rude. Good day to you. Good day to you. Absolutely, Rohan, man. Absolutely. What else we got left with that, man? That's where the encapsulates sit in the throne at the right hand, man. It's an inheritance. It's a gift. You know what I'm saying? You know how that's a gift? Because that's the gift the Father gave to the Son. Luke 1:33. Well, you done drunk all the water out of there, boy.
And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his mouth there shall be no end. Then said Mary unto the Malachim.
Oh, back up there. It's 29.
When she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salutation this should be. And Malachim said unto her,
What he
Fear not,
said?
Mary, for you have found favor with Elohim.
So did.
And behold, you shall conceive in your womb and bring forth a son.
See, pause. If she found favor, she found acceptance with God. And what that means is there's nothing necessarily that an individual has to do for God to accept them. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't tell you what Mary did for God to accept her. I'm mentioning this here because people will tell you that God will own. Case in point, I'm not going to mention the organization. There's an organization that only the men can be members and the women can't. I'm not making this up. Like, literally, like, the men are on the books, but the women are not. Which is the dumbest thing that you could ever come up with. Why is that stupid, Sid? According to the word, man. Shalom, Brother Shawty. And for the goofy nigga in the back, ain't no simping or caping going on. Stop being a jackass, a douchebag, a phallus head, if you would. Because when this man, you know how we know this here? Because when you go to your law in Numbers, if a man died having no sons, who got his inheritance? And when Moses brought that to Yahuwah, what did he say that the women said? They said right. So what does that mean as far as Yahuwah is concerned? That gender is not the top priority, but justice and judgment. And that's it. Do men have authority in certain situations? Absolutely. But what's the number one important thing with Yahuwah? Justice and judgment. Now imagine if we would say, you know what? No, bump that junk. They ain't got no sons. That junk don't matter. But what was the caveat that he told them women they would have to do? And so that their father's name or another tribe would not get their father's inheritance. That's it. Which goes back to what we just read in Ezekiel about not wanting to take somebody else's possession. You know, that's a serious thing. You see, and I seen people, they were talking about, you know, with the immigrants, talking about this stolen land. And I got a news flash for everybody under heaven. All land been stolen, if you want to call it stolen. And I can't even say it's stolen. It's what happens in warfare. But then on top of that, if you just know American history, most of the land was bought. Most of the land was bought. You know what I'm talking about? Most of what you call California, New Mexico, all that, they bought that. The Louisiana Purchase made up the mass majority of, pretty much the Midwest, because they bought all of that. So the thought process that they stole every piece of land over here is just, what's the word I'm looking for? A fallacy. Because other countries own most of the land over here. You already know who owns Florida. You know who owns Florida City? Spain owns Florida. The French own Louisiana and all the states they bought with it. Who else, man? Who else owns land over here? Well, they don't count. Because they took all them 13 colonies in the East Coast. They don't count. So they took that. You know what I'm saying? They took that.
I was gonna say, saying stolen. Can you just say like?
Yeah, it's conquered land, man. Every kingdom that has ever ruled on the face of the earth has conquered the land that they got.
And that's what we did.
Yeah, when you came in the land of Canaan, boy, you conquered them people. The same way that you look at these white people calling them colonizers, that's how the Moabites looked at you. That's how the Jebusites looked at you. I ain't gonna say that. The only difference is Israel didn't take that land and then say, hey, let's multiply our rule all over across the world and make your land look like our land. They got their land and stopped. And we don't care what y'all got going on around us, except when it's time to worship your God and do the freaky stuff y'all be doing. Then we care. You know what I'm saying? But man, look here, man. The Chinese done conquered. Africans done conquered. The British and the French done conquered. See, it's different because we over here. But if you go overseas, man, a lot of them lands been conquered multiple times. Yeah, by multiple different people. That's just how that goes. That's why people don't understand, why they doing that in Israel and Iran. Because they want to get Israel out the way in order to conquer the land so they can rule. That's it. There's no deeper than that. Yeah, they didn't want to rule. And Israel like, no, we don't want to be ruled. We don't want to get out the way. So we're going to come up with a preemptive strike, which there's no such thing as a preemptive strike. That's like walking up to somebody and punching them in the face and say, this is a preemptive punch. You ain't did nothing to me. What you punching me for? For when you get ready to come punch me. Who told you I was going to punch you? I don't know, but I had to punch you first. That's what Israel did. They said, we got to shoot missiles to stop you from making nuclear weapons before you can make them. And the truth be told, Shalom, Rohan, truth be told, the reason why they want the United States involved is because the United States has a type of missile that the Israelis don't have. You know what missile that is? What missile you think that the United States has that the Israelis don't have, which is why they want the U.S. to participate? You know, you got a nigga in the Navy, huh? No. They got bunker busting bombs. And Israel don't have those. Because they believe a lot of their nuclear work and certain people are in underground bunkers. And Israel don't have. The U.S. wouldn't give Israel those weapons. So the United States is the only one out of the two that have them. That's why they want the U.S. involved. Because you got something that we can take out our people and it be over with. And the U.S. like, you know what? Nah. Trump like, nah, man, we good. Man, Trump say, man, long as they don't fool with us, we ain't got nothing to do with that. I think people just conveniently ignore that he said that. You know what I'm saying? He said, hey, man, long as you don't attack our bases, you don't do this, and you don't do that, we good. He said, if you do that, I'm coming to see you. Like a man's supposed to. We need to let him know, hey, man, that's y'all beef, y'all fight. You know, that's my homeboy. You know, I'm going to help him out when he need help, but I'm pretty much going to leave that alone. But if you try me, nigga, I'm going to put your dick in the dirt. That's pretty much what he told me. How you supposed to? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, most of this stuff, man. You know, the Mexicans, or what you call Mexicans, probably Aztecs, they own California, all that junk there, man. They sold that. They make you want to believe them white folks took that, but they sold a lot of it. Let me read that to you. You knew about that, Cindy? You knew about the Mexican purchase? You purchased some Mexicans? If you did, that's illegal. I believe so. The Mexican purchase of 1853. It involved the United States buying a strip of land from Mexico for $10 million. The land is now part of southern Arizona and New Mexico and was required to facilitate the construction of the Southern Transcontinental Railroad. The purchase resolved border disputes following the Mexican-American War and completed the contiguous United States. They acquired $10 million to fight a war with a nigga and then get $10 million. But you know how much money $10 million was in 1854? Jeez. So there was controversy at the time. This is called the Gadsden Purchase, by the way. Some senators opposed it due to concerns about slavery expansion and a potential northern versus southern railway route. Now, the United States got California in a treaty called the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which ended the Mexican-American War, and that the U.S. had to pay them $15 million for the land. Say Mexico ceded vast territory with this treaty, which was California, Nevada, Utah, most of Colorado, Arizona and New Mexico, parts of Wyoming, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Colorado. That's everything the Mexicans controlled in that. And then they paid them $15 million for all that land. And the U.S. agreed to assume the debts that the Mexican government owed to American citizens. So it sounds like to me the U.S. paid $25 million for some land and didn't just take it. You know what I'm talking about? I think the only land they really took over here was the original colonies. Everything else they had to pay for. Let me see what states was a part of the Louisiana Purchase. Ah, yes, ma'am. I appreciate it. All the way up. So it was a vast amount of land. Pretty much everything they purchased from everything west of the Mississippi, they paid for that. They paid for that. You know what I'm saying? They did not take that. That wasn't no colonization. Indians, give me your land. They paid for that. Let's see what states was involved in. You look at the Louisiana Purchase. I can't even see. That was Louisiana, Arkansas, parts of Oklahoma, parts of Colorado, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, all of South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, and pieces of Minnesota. They bought it in 1803. And it contained parts of Canada, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. It said the Kingdom of France controlled the Louisiana Territory from 1682 until it was ceded to Spain in 1762. And then the U.S. bought it after that. So again, that's Arkansas, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Minnesota, Louisiana, New Mexico, Texas, North and South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, and Colorado. Let's see how much they paid for that.
$15 million.
So they paid $15 million for that. So you just heard $40 million that was paid for land. You know what I'm saying? Now, there was the Mexican-American War. You familiar with that war? You ever heard of that war? You ever heard of War 1812? The hell they been teaching you? What classes you failed? All of them. That was wrong with you now. You don't know no history, but you can tell me about the Real Housewives, can't you? Yeah, you can.
War 1812, Alexander.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Mexican-American War was fought from 1846 to 1848, and it was an invasion of Mexico by the U.S. Army. So, the U.S. was the provocator of that. 3 cents in an acre, 60 cents. That's tough.
Yeah, I think the War 1812 was the French and the British.
It was fought over here, though. There ain't been too many wars fought on American soil. We was talking about this the other day. Most wars are fought on the other side of the world. This is why the Americans are very arrogant in the way that they move. I do not believe that most Americans would think the way that they think if they knew that war could be fought on United States soil like the rest of the world is accustomed to. You know what I'm saying? War's been fought on British soil, French soil, German soil. You know what I'm talking about? It's been war fought on Chinese soil. Remember, I told you about that one now. The UK went to war with the Chinese because they didn't want to get high. You remember that war? You know about the Opium Wars? Yeah, they went to war because the Chinese didn't want to get high. I'm not making this up. You can look this up. Yeah, they were like, man, y'all need to get on this opium, man. You need to get on this boy. You need to get on this heroin. You know what I'm saying? War been fought in Afghanistan. War been fought in India. War been fought in Japan. War been fought in which would be what they call it the Middle East, but it's really Asia Minor. War been fought there. Ain't no wars been fought over here like that. Ain't no war been fought on American soil since the 19th century. Now it says here, right? It followed the 1845 American annexation of Texas, which Mexico still considered its territory because it refused to recognize the treaties of Velasco signed by President Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna after he was captured by the Texian army during the 1836 Texas Revolution. The Republic of Texas was a de facto independent country, but most of its Anglo-American citizens had moved from the United States to Texas after 1822, wanted to be annexed by the United States. Now, of course, us not being from Texas, we wouldn't know this, but I guarantee you anybody from Texas probably knows this inside and out. That's why Texas always talks about seceding and being its own state, because for a time period, it was its own country. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, you need to cut it out. Now you looking crazy because you got embarrassed in front of all these people. And then the purpose of this war was for Mexico to recognize the sovereignty that the U.S. had over Texas. And then they paid them off. So basically, it was a war for Texas. And guess what? It said that the United States lost 18,130 people. 1,733 were killed. 4,152 were wounded. 11,550 died from disease, with 695 going missing. The Mexicans lost 35,000. 5,000 killed, 20,000 wounded, 10,000 missing. This includes civilians killed by violence, military deaths from disease, and accidental deaths. The Mexican death toll may have reached 25,000, and the American death toll reached 13,283. It says sectional politics over slavery in the U.S. had previously prevented annexation because Texas would have been admitted as a slave state, upsetting the balance of power between northern free states and southern slave states. So ain't that something? I do remember that, though. And that's why you can't go by people who get on TikTok and say this and say that. Now, the War of 1812 was a war fought by the United States against the UK and its allies in North America. And it began when the United States declared war on Britain in June of 1812. And the Treaty of Ghent, the war did not officially end until the peace treaty was ratified in 1815. They said it came with the Anglo-American status quo antebellum, meaning the situation as it existed before war. And it came with the Spanish control over West Florida weakened, and Mobile comes under American control. The belligerents. God, I like that word used there. It was the U.S. with the Cherokee tribes, the Chickasaw tribes, the Choctaw tribes, and the Lower Creek and the Tuscarora tribes.
That's what I was saying. I didn't want to say it, but the whole time they were fighting the war against the Indians. That whole war was on Russell from the 1600s before they even bought that. They wasn't really fighting the war. They were really just the Indians to fight the Americans.
And then right here say
the whole allies were just ended. Just say Britain and Indians.
Yeah, in the United Kingdom, it was Tecmo Confederacy, Red Sticks, Menominee, and 6 nations of the Grand River and West Florida. And they say in this one here, man, 5,200 died on the U.S. side, up to 15,000 deaths on each side. Say Anglo-American tensions stem from a long-standing difference over the territorial expansion in North America and British support for Tecumseh's Confederacy, which was a confederation of Native Americans in the Great Lake regions of North America, which formed during the early 19th century around the teaching of Shawnee leader Tinwactaw. The Confederation grew over several years and came to include several thousand Native American warriors. Shawnee leader Tuxtme, the brother of Texwata, became the leader of the Confederation as early as 1808, and together they worked to unite the various tribes against colonizers from the United States who had been crossing the Appalachian Mountains and occupying their traditional homelands. Now, that's where your colonizer, that's why I told you all the colonizing really happened on this side of the Mississippi. Other side, they were buying.
You gotta look at them Navajo Apache wars.
Mm-hmm.
That's on the other side. After they bought the Louisiana.
And then other stuff come in. I think they just were trying to move them off. Y'all got to go. I done paid for it. Y'all got to go. But we have about 3 hours. We need to stop right now, sir. Because some people don't like no history lesson. They like, I don't want to hear that. I don't give a damn what you want to hear. Hallelujah for Yahushua in the word, though. I appreciate y'all time. I bless y'all the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Yahuwah willing, man, we'll be back at it on Wednesday. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all. And Yahuwah willing, we'll be back at it like a crack addict. You know what I'm saying? But some things you just have to look at because that's just how it go, man. Lands get conquered. People go to war. That's what happens. Shoot. Mashiach going to war. The nation's mad with him because they like this here. How you going to take my land? Hey, what y'all doing? Sit down. Blessings, man. Y'all be acting like y'all ain't got no sense. Again, I appreciate y'all. Bless y'all the house, Elohim, in the name of Yahushua, Yahuwah willing. To the next time. Amen, sisters, and amen. Hey, Stan. How are you?